Mm-hmm. Hey, shalom, bro. Y'all about some of that.
Hey, Shalom Akim Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Hold on.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, see?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, Con. Give me 1 second. I'm
All right.
joining the back.
Gone. I already said a lot.
Yep. Con.
But we had, okay, nice, cool. All right. You can hear? All right, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And we are here once again. We're going to get right into it. As you can see in the title, Turn Up, which is basically at this point in time, seeing the things that are happening. As Yahweh Shai mentioned, as a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Matthew 24. And you can go specifically to the verse of wars and rumors of wars, because just within the past week or so, you had India and Pakistan going at it. All right, India basically launching them projectiles over there into Pakistan. Now they're saying that they came to an immediate so-called ceasefire or peace agreement. But these are all part of the signs, right, that the Lord forewarned us about prior to his return. Okay, the signs of the end days, which the disciples explicitly asked the Lord, and he told them that these would be signs. So we can get that real quick.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Yeah, and we're hearing of actual wars, and we're also hearing of rumors of wars. One major rumor of war is World War III. Okay, it's that regional war that expands into a world war over there in the specific part of the Middle East that pertains to the land of Israel, the land of Palestine, and Iran. Okay, so that's a rumor of war. People are talking about how, whenever you watch like BBC or these news channels, whenever some event happens over there, they always mention how, they need to de-escalate as quickly as possible, or else they could risk sparking an even greater war in that region. Right? So that's a rumor of war. And as we read here, we're also going to hear of actual wars. And there are actual wars that are going on, some that are bigger than others. So you don't hear about the smaller ones, but they're still going on around the world. All right, so the world is not at peace right now, but that's a sign. That's one of the many signs that we are in the last days prior to the return of the Heavenly Father. Let's get Second Ezra, the 9th chapter. You can start at the top. And so with that in mind, as the prophecies are speaking, the prophets also got to speak, right? And we got to be in a mindset of hastening onto the returning of the Lord. Okay, not a mindset of we might be here 20 between 20 to 30 years. That kind of mindset. That ain't the mindset you want to be in. Because what do you even when you're when you're exercising and you're doing an intense drill, and it's time, if it's for a minute or 2 minutes, when you hear the timer is at like 10 seconds or 5 seconds left, you have to, all right, cool, let me go, let me keep on fighting, I'm almost there. But here it is, you struggling your ass off, and then the timer says freaking 1 minute 59 seconds left. You like, at that point, you're like, ah, shit. Let me just your body starts to say, let me loosen up a bit, because I still have a long way to go, so that I can endure that whole while. But now is not the time for that. Okay, with the geopolitical tensions that are going on, it ain't gonna be another 20 to 30 years before World War III pops off. All right, before they introduce this MOTB, because the MOTB, as the scriptures say, has a penalty, which is in Revelation, the 14th chapter. So it's not going to be like you take the MOTB and then here it is, 50 years later on your deathbed is when the Lord comes and now he got to judge your ass. At that point, you're already on your way out. So once that MOTB comes out, the remaining prophecies are going to follow suit very quickly. All right? You got that? Go ahead. Oh, yeah, bring it up.
Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 13. Go and you shall receive. Pray for few days unto you, that they may be shortened. The kingdom is already prepared for you. Watch. So basically, the angel was telling Ezra to pray for a few days, not pray for longer days. Pray for the short days to be short, that we what the kingdom could come. Because Ezra was lamenting a lot about seeing the desolation of Israel. So it's like, okay, well, seeing as how you're bothered by that, we'll pray for a few days, not seeking for the place to be to go on long. You can't be out here saying that this is a wicked kingdom, but you're saying, hey, you might be here. Well, first was Alexander saying 100 years. So what's that, 1,000? Oh, 1,000. And now Bishop Nate is coming out saying 20 to 30 years now. These are not men that are looking for the end. You're supposed to look for the end, hasten the day.
Yeah. Well, because Al-Azhar's over there making money, making merchandise off of the truth to the Lord, the Lord got him so bad, he said he's stepping away from teaching. Now he's going to be an entertainer. The fuck is that? And then now you got, and I mentioned in the video that they just did the whole land blitz. They got money. So, they're not trying to be out of here anytime soon. They're trying to, reap the things that they've sold. Here it is. Their organization is gaining more traction. More and more people are hearing about him. He's enjoying that you can tell from his attitude that he loves that vain glory. So now he's not just getting it from the Israelite community. He's getting it on a global level. He's getting it on a worldly level. He ain't trying to drop that right now. Like if you ended up if you sold out, imagine this, right? You sold out, and right before you get the money to actually spend it, the Most High says, it's time to go. That's how Lord, hold on. Let me at least. I know I sold out. I know I'm gonna get my ass beat, but let me at least enjoy the wicked deed, so I get my ass beat then. So 20, 30 years, that's perfect timing, right? You were a little older at that point. You like, hey, you know what? I think I'm ready for the kingdom now. But for those that are, as King Solomon said, give me neither poverty nor riches. You're getting your daily bread and you're just getting by. You're in the spirit of Ezra. I think it's in Ezra, 2nd Ezra, the 4th or 6th chapter. It mentions, did not the men of like mind basically wander in their chambers when cometh the fruit of our labors? And that's what we're saying. When cometh the fruit of our labors? We can't endure another 20 to 30 years in this society. This society is corrupt. It's wicked as all hell. Okay? It's rightfully called Babylon. Because you can have a man pushing a stroller with a baby and you can't tell. Because they look like a woman. And they've been changed, all right, to process as though they are a woman. That's literally sorcery. Like, we witnessed modern day sorcery before our eyes, and people look at it as medicine. They look at it as normal life. Oh, there was more on that? No. Beautiful. Let's go back in here.
This book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and 1, and it reads, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself.
Right, and that's what we're doing. Right, you're measuring the time diligently in itself. So how do we measure the time diligently in itself? Well, the measuring tape or the measuring stick is the scriptures. Okay, because just like you would have for those that like, I forgot what the name of that thing is, but it's like it's almost like a ball, but it has the measuring that thing where you pull it and it has the measurements on it, and then you can pull and measure. Measuring tape. Okay, I guess that's what it's called. But it's used for measuring because it has the measurements on it. So the scriptures, the measurements are the marks of prophecy. All right, so we use that to measure where we are in the timeline of the events that have to take place, and we measure it diligently by constantly watching, paying attention to the news, reading these articles, looking at what's being talked about on a global scale, what direction current events are heading in, and then we're linking it with the scriptures and saying, okay, all right, it looks like we're getting closer and closer to this. So when you see videos like, oh, it's at the door, or another step towards the MOTB, that's a part of measuring the times by the signs the Lord has given us. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Why do you think in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, Habakkuk said, I will stand upon my watch? You got to think about it. A person who's on a watchtower looking for any enemies that are going to, assault the city, you can't be lax. You can't be like lackadaisical and just, just another day. Now, you got to be on a constant alert, because at any point, if you see something happen, you got to go quickly. And let's say you have another person with you, go tell them, go warn the city, go sound the alarm and warn the people, let them know, hey, there's somebody at the front gate. Let the king know, hey, there's people at the gate, somebody's coming up, there's something happening.
Right.
So it's the same thing with these videos. That's why it's like the minute something happened, brothers on it immediately, and they put the videos up. You can't be like, oh, you know, because think about that. If you're in the mindset of something is going to happen, oh, this might happen in 20, 30 years down the line, which didn't Yahweh Shai said, if I'm not mistaken, no man knows the hour of the day. Ain't you kind of putting a timeline now? What was that, like 2050, if I'm not mistaken? Oh, so 2050 is when we're going to get out of it?
Yeah, anywhere between 20 and 30 years.
So it's like, kind of putting a timeline on it, but the men who are on the watchtower are supposed to be, you know, alert, always watching and things like that. So that way, if anything happens, they can hastily go and warn the king or warn the people and say, hey, there's somebody at the front gates. You're not supposed to just be, you know, well, maybe ain't nothing gonna happen today. You know how it be.
Right.
That's the same with like, I work security. I know how it be. You be thinking, there's just a regular day, ain't shit gonna happen. Next thing you know, some bullshit happen. These niggas, but nah, it ain't these niggas. It's you gotta be on the watch. You always gotta be circumspect, looking around to see if something happens. If something happens, the people ain't gonna blame the nigga. They're gonna blame you. What was you doing?
Yeah. Why do you think we hired you? You know, but that's a good point. Like in Game of Thrones, when they built that giant wall, that giant ice wall to keep out the White Walkers or whatever they call them, it had been centuries. You know, the what were they? The Night's Watch, yeah. They have been constantly recruiting members to go on guard on the wall for centuries, and nothing had happened. So you know, you would think, yo, man, what are we even supposed to be watching out for? But guess what? Lo and behold, there came a point in time when those horns did sound, you know, and they were like, oh shit, that's 3 times. That means that this is like an emergency. But if everybody was lax upon that tower, like, yeah, I mean, what? It's 5 centuries going by and nothing happened. What's going to happen? What are the chances it's going to happen at this time? And that's that one time you say that, right? My Lord, delayeth is coming. That's when, boom, it happens. Like in them TV shows, something bad is happening. Dude's dumbass going to open his mouth and say, can it get any worse than this? Or surely it can't get any worse than this. And then, boom, it gets worse than this. But yeah, you got it. Go ahead.
And when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before.
Yeah, see? So he said, the Lord said part of the signs. See, we don't got to see all the signs pass to know that we're in this time. If before it rains, you don't need to see the rain actually touching you to know that it's about to rain, right? The clouds start to darken. You start hearing the rumbling. You start feeling the wind. That's enough for you to know, yeah, I got to get my ass inside because it's about to rain. You don't, oh, no, you, brother, we got to wait until I feel a drop. I don't know if it's going to rain or not. So how do the meteorologists tell you that it's going to rain? They don't feel a drop before they tell you it's going to rain. Because then who would listen to them? Like, no shit, bro, I'm getting wet too. Like, obviously it's raining. This water really wet. Go ahead.
Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
Yeah, and a lot of people are not ready for the visitation of the highest. They're definitely not ready for the visitation of the highest. They're walking around all comfortable, you know? And people gonna look like, oh, why y'all always got a problem with people being comfortable? It's not about just having look at that comfortability right there, you know? But it's not a problem with people being comfortable. It's a problem with people being comfortable in wickedness, okay? When you're living in a society, it's like somebody who's supposed to do, like, for example, if you're doing your job and then you're comfortable doing your job, that's fine. Your manager ain't got a problem. But if he comes and you're not doing your job and everything is all messed up and you comfortable, that's a problem. You know? He's gonna look at you like, yo, what's up? Like, what you doing? Oh, you know, I'm just chilling out here. Why are you chilling? There's work to be done. So it's about that the world today, they're not ready for the visitation of the highest. Because when the Most High comes to visit the earth, he's going to visit it with destruction, with judgment, with recompense for all the wickedness that's been going on. Wickedness has become so prevalent that people don't even know it's wickedness. That's why they're going to be so like startled, like, wait, why is God bringing such destruction? Because you're living in wickedness. And they're going to be like, what do you mean? What wickedness? And then you point them, like the angels show the prophets in the visions. You point them over there. You see that right there? Is that a man or a woman? Oh, that's just a TG. Then the second you say that, the angel gonna turn to you and destroy your ass. Because now you're talking about that's just a TG. Okay, So that means that you got to go too, because now your mind has been corrupted, right? And then they'll point over there. What's that going on? Oh, that's just two guys getting married. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay, so now you definitely got to go. So people have become so normalized to it that it's normal to them. What's that on the TV? Oh, that's just two dads. You know, two dads and then they got a son. Yeah, that's fine to you. So the Most High is going to bring that judgment for all these things. Okay.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people,
And we're seeing that all around. I remember years ago we started. It really started getting like major with the yellow vest protests over there in France. You know, we're doing lessons on it, and then you had different kinds of uproars and going on. But now a lot of people are starting to revolt against their authorities because they don't like what's going on geopolitically. But we're seeing these things, and that's telling us. Go ahead.
in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee.
So the angel Uriel is telling Ezra, you want to know what's going to happen? You want to know, you want to identify when you're in the last days? These are going to be the signs you're going to see. And when you see these things, then you're going to understand X, Y, and Z. Now, why would the angel be telling Ezra when he sees these things, then he will understand that the Most High spake of these things from the beginning? Because both the angel and Ezra knew and understood the concept of reincarnation. So Ezra knew he would be back in this time. And Ezra understood that really the token that was being told him wasn't really for him, but rather for those that would come after. Go ahead.
Even from the beginning. For as like all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end,
Right. So everything that was created has a beginning and an end. They call it like a shelf life. When the child is born, from the baby, that's their beginning, and when they die or when they get old, that's their end. A tree, like anything that grows, has a beginning and an end. Anything, a car has a beginning and an end. Right? When it's fresh, when it's new, and then eventually when it's worn out. And that applies to more than physical things. For example, time periods, rulerships. They all have a beginning and an end. They start and then they finish. Go ahead.
and the end is manifest.
Right. So now we're at the end. It's manifest. We can see it. And it manifests in signs. How do you tell when somebody's at the end of their life? How did they tell when King David was at the end of his life? They tested for signs. He's not able to catch heat. They brought a young woman to cherish him. That didn't work. You know, he was feeble. He was bedridden. Those were signs that manifested the end of his life. So similarly, there are signs in the world that are manifesting to show us that we're at the end of this society. Did you have your hand up? Did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was going to add on to the point that you were making about the earthquakes. Apparently today out in Georgia, they had a 4.1 earthquake, and you had mostly women who were talking about it. You know, a lot of women were saying that, oh my God, did you feel that? Yo, I've never felt that in my life before. And that was a 4.1. All right. So again, going back to the signs of the times, these are all part of it. And we have to be very cognizant of these things. You know, and I got a quick precept here, if you don't mind. This is the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 12. It says, for man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. Right? So part of the times of the end is going to be a time of evil, like it says in the book of Ezekiel, the 7th chapter, an evil and only evil is come. Right? It watcheth for thee, it is come. Right? So that evil time, that's all part of what? Jacob's trouble. All right, the MOTB system being put on Front Street, as in being made mandatory upon the face of the earth. All right, which is all going to bring in the hour of temptation. All right, we're seeing the signs that's leading to that. All these technological companies are all leading to the same direction, and they're putting people through their tests. All right, a lot of these test runs, all these things that we've been using over the past, I say 5-10 years, is all leading to MOTB technology, man. All right, so for Bishop Nate to come out and say we got a good 20-30 years, he's clearly not watching for the signs. Right, in his estimation, he's clearly not watching for the signs. I don't know where he's at, right? As in, what timeline and prophecy do you think we're in to be saying that we got 20-30 years? You know? So you got it, bro.
Yeah. Hey, and like we were talking about how how you got some of his men like they really now it's to the point where the prophecy is so clear they really want to admit that it's what we've been saying it is, but they're trying so hard to find a way around it. You know, like that video, the dude is like, you know, it's getting there. You know, they're gonna bring a digital ID. You know, and they're gonna. So now, forget the sin, forget the because then, oh, like you were saying, they might say, well, they might digitalize sin. You know, how they gonna digitalize sin? They gonna put a thing inside of you, so when you lie or when you sin, they can detect it, and that's the MOTB. So we always been saying it. That's what we meant when we said the sin in all its various ways. This is one of those various ways. So thou moron, you know, that's what I've been saying from the jump. I never said there wasn't gonna be no device thing gonna put inside here. What the fuck, man? Bro, hey, this dude is really gonna spin, you know, like a spider web. You got so many layers. He gonna spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it, spin. And his people gonna be like, oh yeah, hey, the bishop been saying it. You know, what's that dude's name? The one that looks so evil and shit. They face over like the Grinch. Like the Grinch. What's it?
ASAP.
Hey. He gonna come like, Bishop. He been saying this from the beginning. You know, y'all just hating. Y'all GMS guys, man. Y'all wicked. You know, but that's what they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it, man, because this prophecy is so major that you either need one, you need to tie in your explanation of the MOTB to it, or number two, you need to give a reason or an explanation for what it is, because people will ask you. So if what you're saying has nothing to do with it, no, I never said it had nothing to do with it. If you listen closely, what I said was there's gonna come a time, and then the whole script flips. And guess what? We're not you. If you want to see an example of this, go and listen to that interview he had where they asked him if there's ever going to be a time of Jacob's trouble, and he very vehemently declared no. Then he turned around and said that ain't what he said. So what would be so surprising if he does it again for the MOTB? Anyway, guy.
This is Second Ezra, chapter 9 and 6. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs.
Yeah, and that's key, right? Plain beginnings, because most of the time, some of these things that build up and manifest as these major prophecies, they start off small. They start off plain. They don't start off as like the biggest thing in the world, and then eventually it builds up, and you're like, oh, like for example, companies today that are very famous, Google, Microsoft, even Bitcoin, right? Once upon a time, it was a couple of cents. Once upon a time, Microsoft was just a couple of people. Google was just a couple of people in somebody's garage somewhere, you know? And they started off small, and then boom, it manifested, it grew and blew up into something more. So similarly, these prophecies, they start off like they're small, you know, men going out and teaching, and yeah, you know, I remember it was just a few guys. They used to be over here, and specifically in this area, and now all of a sudden it's everywhere. And now all of a sudden it's having actual effects and signs. Right?
Verse 7, and every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith, whereby ye have believed.
Yeah, and that's the key part. Whereby ye have believed. You need to have faith in the Heavenly Father, in his words, in his Son, right, in his Spirit, that you may be saved. Because then through believing, you're gonna bring forth righteous fruits. Your labors are gonna be worthy of deliverance, right? Of being delivered, of being saved. Go ahead.
Shall be preserved from the impending perils.
Yeah, so the Most High is gonna preserve his elect, and everything is gonna turn up. Not just us, not just the spirit we're in, but everything is gonna turn up. From what your daily life looks like to just everything, prophecies going around, everything is gonna turn up, and it's gonna be like that. The scriptures say, if you roughly paraphrasing, if you couldn't keep up with the footmen, how are you gonna even fare with the horsemen? You know? And right now we racing with the footmen. And when the Lord turns it up, you better shift into fifth gear, because if not, you get left behind and trodden underfoot. What?
And shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders.
Yeah, and shall see my salvation. Now everybody's gonna see Yahushua when he comes back, but not everybody's going to see the salvation. Okay, some are going to see the destruction, and others are going to see that salvation. Let's get that real quick in Revelation. Revelation 22. And what's that? He that is just, let him be. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. They may be around 11 or so. But yeah, everybody's going to see the salvation of the Lord because that's going to be the main event, and it's going to be a beautiful time when the main events worldwide are fully associated with the Bible, with biblical events. Because right now, the things that are happening in the world are biblical, but people don't recognize it as such. Yeah, you got something, Haran?
Yeah, I got a couple of precepts to back you up in terms of waiting on the Lord's salvation, as is written in Zephaniah 3 and 8. It says, "Wait ye upon me, saith the Lord." Right? But also, ultimately, like you were saying, ultimately, when the time comes, those who have waited upon the Lord, there's a reason why the Lord says to wait, because when you wait, is a sign of faith and patience, right? Because you got people who hasten, right? Like, oh, I can't wait, and then they lose patience and then they fall out, right? But those who have actually waited upon the Lord, meaning that you have faith that everything that the Lord promised will come at a certain time, as it says in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, though it tarry, wait for it, right? That same word wait comes back again. Okay, so it's very important to wait upon the Lord, because once the Lord gives that go ahead, He's always going to be working with you if you wait upon Him. I got a few precepts. This is a book of Isaiah chapter 25 and verse 9. It says, and it shall be said, it says, and it shall be said in that day, and that day is fast approaching, lo, this is our power, we have waited for Him, and He will save us. This is the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. We have waited for Him. We will be glad and rejoice in His salvation. Okay, so ultimately, when the missiles start coming down upon this place, right, and we call upon Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, He delivers us in faith. Okay, because that's what we're waiting for. We're gonna be rejoicing. We're gonna be praising the name of the Lord, right, while we watch this place go down. Okay, another one I got real quick. Isaiah 33 and 2. It says, O Lord Yahweh, be gracious unto us. We have waited for Thee. Be Thou their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. Okay, so as is written in Daniel the 12th chapter, that the Lord is going to actually send His angels to come and protect us, as we just read in the precept the brother brought out, right, within the Lord's borders. Okay, so that's talking about ultimately the elect that are scattered all throughout the world, especially here in Babylon the Great. That's the borders, man. And the Lord's going what? He's going to deliver all of us. Okay, Lord willing, if we continue to what? Wait patiently upon the Lord. All right, but you got it, bro.
God, that's right. All right.
2nd Ezra 9 and 8. And it reads, shall be preserved from the impending perils, and shall see my salvation in my land.
Yeah, and the perils meaning troubles, dangers, destruction. Go ahead.
And within my borders, for I have sanctified myself from this world. Then shall they be in pitiful case, who have abused my ways.
Right. And that's going to be a lot of people of today, which, purposefully neglect the ways of the Lord. Right. You warned them. That's why the Lord has us out here, because then it's fair. You can't say, oh, Lord, I didn't know what your ways were. Oh, Lord, I wasn't aware of this, that, and the third, because you were, because the prophets are out here. All right. Go ahead.
And they who have despised and rejected them shall lie in torment.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to happen. So when Jacob's trouble comes, this ain't going to be a happy ever after. We keep emphasizing that point. This ain't going to be, people love to watch these scary movies because they can enjoy the thrill, right? The jump scare from a safe location. You're in your house, or you with your man, or you in the movie theater, and you watching this scary ass movie. You're like, yo, this shit crazy. Dude, you got zombies outside and freaking dudes are scared inside under a table somewhere, but you good. You good because, hey, you're not in the movie. You're just watching it. Well, when you're actually in the movie, you're going to realize that you ain't good. The movie, the writers could be like, all right, you know what, at the end of the movie, this is what happens and yada, yada. Like, there's a movie called, damn, I forget the exact name of it. But the movie is basically about a woman. She ends up, I don't know if she moved or she was trying to get an Airbnb, and it was in Detroit, some area over there. But that area, the specific area where she ended up getting that Airbnb, was like she got there at night, and it was like a messed up town, like almost like a remains of a burnt city. But there was that one house that was there. So she ends up going in there, and then there's a guy already in there, and she's there. You know that movie, and she's like, "Yo, this is my Airbnb." He's like, "No, I rented this," and they're like, "Ah, shit, this crappy ass service." So they all they managed to find some middle ground, and they portray the scene as though like the real threat is the guy, because it's just her, it's just him, it's a nighttime. She's sleeping in one room, and then the door slowly starts to open, and you're like, "Oh shit, what's this guy gonna do?" And then she comes out, and he's just chilling. So lo and behold, it turns out that nobody really dwells in that area because of some strange phenomenon that was going on over there. Apparently, there was this guy, I think he was like committing incest or so, and so he would like, I don't know, have kids with his kids and all that weird shit until one of the children became like a big ass monster. She's like a woman, but she's like damn near 12, 13, 14 feet tall, a big monstrous looking creature. And she's down in the basement. So here it is, something goes on, the power goes out, and she goes with the guy down to the basement to check it out. He goes first. And you know how the movies are. He goes in there, then sometime after, you don't hear nothing, he's not coming back. So she's like, "What's going on?" She takes a flashlight and she's going. And then she finally bumps into him like a jump scare. Like, "Oh, shit, what's going on?" He's like, yo. He's like, "Oh, run. Our dumbass is still standing there like, "What's going on?" Oh, next thing you know, this big giant creature grabs his head and just smashes him into the wall. Bam, 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 bam. Now he's dead. And she's like, "Oh." So everybody in the movie is like, "Oh, she's the real threat, not the guy." Finds out there's like, as she goes through the tunnel, there's like a cage, like the cage like humans and stuff like that. She ends up getting captured by this creature, and this creature is like breastfeeding her and shit. Yeah, it was a weird movie, but the point was that scary as big as phenomenon of a creature in there. And at the end of the movie, the writer has it to where that creature ends up caring for her and ends up saving her life and all of those things. In real life, that ain't happening. In real life, you're gonna end up like the dude who got his head smashed in. Because these the scriptures say these spirits that are created for vengeance, that's what they're created for. Vengeance. They're not created to give you a little scare and then say, "Oh, that was a good movie." Oh, Jordan Peele, he always has some good movies. In real life, you don't get out. You stay in the sunken place. You end up like Walter and that other black maid. Okay? Real life, you go, "Oh, there was a movie I watched with Al-Haran years ago, and in the movie you had this woman, this Edomite woman. She ended up like luring Issacharites into her house to work for her. But where she lived was like inside like some like in some remote area. So these Issacharites go there to work for her, and they're like, all right, she's like moving weird, like dressing in a seductive way, but then she'll come and then she'll like see how they're working and all that stuff. Long story short, these guys, this shit turns into like the full-on purge where they gotta try and survive. Because her and her husband are now trying to kill him. They're trying to kill him and bury them inside of their yard. Because the Issacharites found out. They were like, "Yo, we're done with our work. We're trying to get paid and leave." And now she's like trying to stall them. They're trying to stall them. Bitch comes out with a whole shotgun. And she starts torturing them and all of these things. Once again, at the end of the movie, they managed to escape after some of them die and shit. But in real life, you will not escape. And maybe nobody ever hears about you except for your family that knows you went missing. And here it is, you getting tortured in an Edomite's basement somewhere. Dude's coming out in a family with a bib on, with a giant fork. And he's coming, he's playing his music, cutting off a piece of your flesh, getting ready to eat. And that's what's going to be a part of those torments that's going to come upon these people that have forsaken the law of the Lord.
Spirit, because myself and the brother the bar was going into a lesson about same kind of topic like judgments, and we were mentioning that movie Final Destination.
Oh yes.
The Final Destination is a real scary topic for people because it's like it's an angel of death. It's not a boogeyman.
Yeah.
It's like an unseen force that's leaving situations to where people have they call it a freak accident. But really it's the Lord lining you up.
Like the one, I don't know if y'all seen the scene from the old movie with the log truck.
That was a fun destination too.
I knew Shalimar was.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so the logs fall off, and it's almost like a cartoon. Like the logs fell off the truck, and then they start bouncing higher and higher.
Wow.
Like this shit don't even make sense. But hey, the Lord can make things that don't make sense make sense.
Definitely. I mean, the earth opened up and swallowed those men.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think in Wisdom of Solomon it mentions that even the elements, like they betray their natural use. Like fire will burn in water, but things that shouldn't make sense that'll fuck your head up are about to happen, man. Different creatures that, a lion don't belong in New York City. What the fuck? An alligator don't
Right.
belong in Central Park. Different unseen creatures, and then just the spirit of death, period. Like that, you want to know a final destination judgment? That stupid ass bitch that was twerking on top of a car and the fire truck came and smacked it. This shit just happened. You know what happened? They had to get niggas to scrape her off the fucking street.
So when the whale came up and ate the man in the boat and everything, it spit him back out.
Yeah.
It was a man, it was a young boy on a kayak or something. The whale gobbled him and he spit him back out. But the Lord had judgment where he didn't take the boy out. The boy lived. Followed him and spit him out with the boat, everything's still alive. So, those freak accidents ain't just no freak accidents. The Lord just has intricate ways of dealing with you in the judgment.
What's that in Sirach? Was it 38 or 39? Talks about that, right? How they in their fury they lay on sore strokes to appease the wrath of him that sent them. So these death angels, and that's the point that we can't emphasize enough. Angels don't act on their own will. Okay, so that means that, and we're saying this now, but people are gonna end up doing it anyway. If a death angel is coming for your life, just don't even bother crying and begging and pleading, because they're not going to listen. That's not going to do anything to them. Okay, you know what that does when a woman cries and then it weakens the defenses of a man or whatever. That's emotions. Okay, that's called emotions. They teach you that you have pathos, logos, and ethos, and I think it's ethos, which is, or either ethos or pathos, which is dealing with your emotions. So, for example, when a situation happens, say they set up a FF, and they say this is like a mass, shooting or whatever, they'll emphasize these children got hit, or this mother got taken out, and now she got these kids by themselves, and who's gonna take care of them? That's the pull on your heartstring when you hear this. And then when it's their fault, you'll hear something like, 2 individuals died in an officer-involved shooting. That's all you hear. That's not going to trigger your emotion. They make it seem like shots were fired and such happened to die. What you mean shots were fired? Who fired the shot? What was the situation? They won't put that in there. So they do these things to play on your heartstrings and pull on your heartstrings, and that's why when women get all emotional and shit, men, fine and whatnot. Angels don't operate that way, especially not the death angels. They don't operate that way. Their whole mission, their whole motto is, I'm here and I like, this is my high. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get off bringing that pain to you so it can please the Heavenly Father.
Spiritual high.
Yeah, spiritual high.
That's kind.
Hey, the scriptures say that. Joy unspeakable. It don't get better than this. So here it is. That's how you have those dudes like in Saw games or whatever that thing is called.
Yeah,
The Saw movies. There was one where you had the black dude. Oh shit! You had a black dude who was caught up in a contraption with his hands and legs like that, and the other dude over there had to find the key to unlock it. And the timer was that the contraptions are gonna twist and twist and twist. Oh, yeah. So his limbs are twisting full 360. And all you see is this guy is like, oh shit, and then his legs just start twisting. The shin bone comes out and just starts bending and bending and bending, and all his whole limbs are just being twisted while he's screaming. And the shit is happening nice and slowly too, nice and slow. And you have one of them where this woman, because that's what he does. He'll make you pass out, and you'll wake up in the contraption. You had this woman. She woke up and she had it looked like a bear trap in reverse. tied to her head. So if she got whatever the thing was wrong and the timer went off, it would just latch open and just like rip her whole jaw open. Yeah. And so she's stuck on that thing, and he's explaining it. I want to play a game. Do you want to play a game? And that's why the Lord says he's going to laugh at your calamity. To him, it's going to be like he's watching the Saw games. But you're going to be the actors, the real life actors in the movie. And you're going to be like, yo, this whole time, all I have to do is just stop and listen. Yeah, was it really worth committing adultery? Was it really worth murdering? Was it really worth stealing and doing all this wickedness? But now here it is, you're getting tortured over there, getting maggots put inside your ears. Dude is using pliers to break your freaking fingers. You know, they're applying what those little tweezer things with electricity on it, your nipples and shit, and just sending shocks to you. On some Home Alone shit.
That's a third degree titty twister shit. That's that. But you know what's crazy too? I think I seen the brother Ashiar did a lesson on how these elites are spending like trillions of dollars building up all these underground bunkers and stuff, right? And who's to say? Because because you had I think the girl's name was Ashley Carter, if I'm not mistaken, or Allie Carter, something like that. And she was I guess she was one of those the trafficking victims. And she was saying how they send them down to like underground bunkers and all kinds of stuff, which we're not surprised because just the thing was last year or the year before, you had these Jays who are being popped out of the underground tunnels and shit. You know what I mean? So tunnels and working diabolical works under tunnels and undergrounds and shit like that is nothing new, right? Because they've had secret societies underground and stuff like that, right? But long story short, going back to that lesson the brother did, basically in my mind, I'm like, wait a minute, this is like over trillions of dollars of building a damn city underground. Like we're talking levels underground, levels. So once they send your ass over there, they gonna need servants. It's not just gonna be robots, because if these robots go rogue down there, they're all cooked. Because these robots can go rogue. Ultimately, by the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, they can go rogue, right? So they're not gonna have robots down there, or they will have robots down there, but not to the degree where they're gonna prefer to have humans, right? Humans are gonna be down there. You're gonna be trafficked down there, right? Millions of people gonna be stuck underneath there to do the evil biddings of Esau, because he's not gonna be using robots for his damn blood sacrifices. He still need humans, So when all hell breaks loose, you're gonna have a lot of these elites. They're gonna send a lot of these so-called migrant gang members and all that to do their evil biddings for them. At night they're gonna scour neighborhoods and they're gonna be picking people up. They show you that in the movie The Purge, where when it's all basically when there's no sense of order and there's a state of anarchy, it's all every man for himself. And at that point, you're gonna have rich people paying groups of gangs and so on and so forth to go out there and find people for them. Bring me this, bring me that. I want a young black woman who's at this age, or these kind of things. Give me at least 10 or 20 of those women, and they're gonna find them. Different states all around, and they're gonna bring them all over to Cincinnati somewhere. You know what I'm saying? And then they're going to do their rituals. So people going to be taken away too. You're going to have the precept that says that they shall be taken in a great number, right? It's not just talking about death, but it's going to be a lot of kidnappings, like numbers that's astronomical. Like, how did we lose this many people in one day? How did these people go missing in 1 week? Like, it's going to be weird shit like that. But at that point, it's every man for himself once again. And remember, these kind of things that are going to be happening is not going to be, people are not going to resist as much because you're not going to have much to resist for, right? Number one, you're starving. This and the shelves are getting emptier by the day. Every single week, it looks like more and more shelves are getting emptier across the states. All right. So when the time comes where it's universal, basic income, universal, where, you don't have much, right? Everyone is pleading to the government for help and aid, and it's just a chaotic energy. Right? They're saying, Trump, we need help. And Trump is saying, no, you don't need help. We already sent you help. Hey, you worse than Biden. We were going through some shit. You sending billions over to Israel and Ukraine and them, and we getting chump change, $200, $700, $500. We need more than that. They said, nah, we already gave you the help. The states, we signed executive orders saying that in a state of emergency, you guys got to take care of yourselves. So now you got to go to your state, your governors, and talk to them. And that's when people are really going to get pissed, and you're going to see them not regarding their kings and princes and so on and so forth. But in that state of chaos, that's when it's going to be easy for them to pull off all these tricks, because you're thinking of food, you're thinking of protection, and then they taking other people away. You're not worried about other people being taken away. It's not going to be an upcry. It's not going to be an outcry. It's not going to be a protest. You don't have the energy for protest. You don't have the will to fight back. You're looking for survival. You're looking for a man to help you. You know what I'm saying? That Isaiah 4:1 spirit kicking in full gear. And speaking of that, I saw a video yesterday, and I'm going to pass it, of this older lady. They call her auntie, right? Old ass lady, bro. Damn near got no teeth in her mouth. And she out here talking about, oh, she need a man. You know what I'm saying? She said she take a man. And she said, look, I'll pay your rent and my rent. If you want a car, whatever car you buying, whatever car you're driving right now, I'll buy you the 2025 model, or even newer. I'll get you that, right? You don't gotta go 50-50. I'll pay everything you need, and you could cheat. She said that. Yeah, she said you could have another woman, as many as you want. I don't care. I just want to have a man. Like, I just want to be under the protection of another man, just a man, you know. And everybody's like, damn, like, she said, I got my own business, I got my own things going on, like, I don't need help, I don't need bread, I don't need shit, I got what I need. Only let me be called by thy name. I say, yo, that's Isaiah 4:1 right there. We almost there, right? So again, the circumstances and the reality is dictating all these things playing out, and we just telling you before it happens. You see what I'm saying? And we watching it play out. So Kolo Yabash Miyasha, once again, we're that much closer to the MOTB. All right, prophecies being checked off just like that. You got it, bro.
Hey, you said she ain't got no teeth? That's the only thing?
The teeth is damn near. It's like it's hard to see. It's like if you really want to look, you can find it, but it's really not there that much.
I mean,
You got it, bro. Oh, actually, Slack, I think you said yes, right?
Deuteronomy 32 and 39. See now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Right. So that one basically breaks itself down. The Lord kills and makes alive. So anytime somebody dies a horrible death, or anytime these terrible judgments going out, the difference with us and the rest of you people out here is that we acknowledge that the Heavenly Father did it. Right? You know, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, did it. He's the one that brings judgment. He's the one that allows you to either live and survive. He's the one that can bring the judgment upon your head. Who can deliver out of his hand? Right. If the Lord lines you up, it's like in NYC, let's say the biggest mob boss of all time. Once there was a hit on you, oh shit, you better move the city. And now we're talking about the king of the universe. You can't move out the country. You can't move to a different state. You can't, y'all, I'm gonna change my identity. The Lord knows you. You're dark. The Lord brings the darkness out of the darkness to the light. So the Lord will find you out, man. No matter where you go, they're trying to hide in bunkers under the earth. They think they're gonna get away. Right. They said that they use some of that money to get underwater sanctuaries. You know, but you think that the Lord,
he said, that's what I command the serpent, and he shall bite
the
him.
serpent shall bite him. Leviathan gonna bite your ass, man. Tail whip your whole shit.
Hell yeah.
And then what? You know, all of that water pressure gonna crush you.
Oh,
and then the Lord might preserve you alive for Leviathan to use you as a toothpick.
that's it.
So then what? You can try to go to the highest of the height of the heavens. You can try to go to the depths of the depths of the earth. There's nowhere you could go to hide from the wrath of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. We can't hide. That's why we just come out here in the broad daylight and say, we're going to present ourselves a living sacrifice. The Lord bless us and have mercy on us to put ourselves out here and to present ourselves a living sacrifice. You can't fight against them. So you better join them.
yeah, real quick. Speaking of the Lord and His judgments, He can make it the most how should I say, unexpected ways. Like the Faces of Death or 1,000 Ways to Die. Those little fiction movies and things that they created. But the Lord be taking he be having some interesting ways to pass judgment on people for being wicked, right? And here during Elisha's time in Second Kings, it reads in Second Kings chapter 2, verse 24, going straight to the point. He turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 sheep bears and out of the woods and there 42 children, 40 and 2 children of them. All right, so the Lord used 2 bears after Elisha prayed, cursed them, had 2 sheep bears come and tear them apart, man. So those miraculous ways that we were speaking of about in Final Destination and in store is just a small glimpse of the ways that the Lord can take you out through His judgment.
Mhm.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, this breaking news. It says here, Pakistan violates ceasefire, launches drones against India hours after agreeing ceasefire deal. Hey, real quick, can we get Proverbs 21, 21 and 1? That's a perfect example of it. And as a matter of fact, that's like what we'll see happening very soon, where it looks like, for example, the whole Iran nuclear talk. Yeah, they may come to an agreement, but then it's not up to them whether they keep that agreement or not. You got it.
Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh.
Right. So the military, the people, the government, they follow the order of whether it's the prime minister, the king, or the president. So when it says the king, it's talking about that ruler, that monarch, all right, which in most societies there is one. So his heart, his mind, his thoughts, his intents, his imaginations are in the hand of the Lord. Okay? But
As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will.
right. So when you have like a stream of water, that stream follows whatever path is there. If the path, if it goes down, it's a waterfall. If it goes to the right, if it goes to the left, the water follows whatever shape that is set forth.
Water course.
Yeah, the water course. And that's likened onto the minds of these kings. They follow whatever course the Most High has molded or set for them. Let's talk about that. You know, and so that's an example right there. Oh, they go for a ceasefire, just like this guy, Pharaoh. He said, oh, no. Let him go. Then he turns around, he ain't going nowhere. Who the hell you think you are? And then he gets played. Ah, shit, yeah, you can go. Nope, change my mind. He can't go. So he wants to, he's getting fucked up. He wants to let him go, but the Most High is like, nope, you ain't doing that. Tell him to stay. Lord, please. Tell him to stay. So these guys violating that ceasefire, it goes to show you that the Lord's word is going to reign supreme. That was it on that? Yeah. All right. Where we at? Oh, I think I asked the time, right? Yes. Let's finish 2 Ezra 9 and let's get the idea. Because just like the precept the bar brought out, that's a very when you read, there's a second, I think it's 2 Kings or 1 Kings, where it talks about, I think it might be 2 Kings. It talks about the prophet who was sent to the northern kingdom to prophesy against Jeroboam. He was ordered not to eat or drink anything there and to go out by a different way when he was to leave. He disobeyed, and the Lord commanded a lion to kill him in the way. Now, when you read that, you're like, damn, that's crazy. Like, the Most High really brought judgment on him. But when you actually visualize that, imagine an actual lion pulling up on your ass. You know what I mean? You know, a lion, like a ferocious lion pulling up on your ass and tearing you. They probably pounced on him off of his ass, you know, pulled him down and just ripped him up. And his carcass was just left there. And the lion was there, the ass was there, and then the lion probably told the ass, hey, I ain't here for you today. I'm here for him. You know? And so, based on what he said about those bears attacking those children, the visual of it is more gruesome than the actual reading of it. There's a video, this idiot, he goes, you know, when you go to those you're saying areas where you can, it's almost like you're driving through a zoo and they tell you don't feed the animals. The dude jumps out, dumbass starts feeding the bear. You know, a big ass bear. I'm talking about big ass bear. His ass is feeding them bread, and the bear is there like, motherfucker, you think bear using bread is why I'm here? So you know, the bear he takes the first one and then he slowly starts going in closer, and then he pounces for the dude, and that's when the video stops. You know, he's like, And then they said, and that's exactly why they told you not to feed the fucking bears. So a scene like that, and there was another one which was based on a true story, where in the video you see a dude, poor man, he's in a shed, and the recording is of it starts off with a bear cub, but the bear cub is fairly big. So they're recording the bear cub. The bear cub is there. The bear cub is there, and next thing you know, the bear cub leaves, and the bear cub pulls up with the father and the mother, which are much bigger. Now you got three freaking Goldilocks and 3 bears. You know what I'm saying? And you got 3 bears over here, all with different sizes, the large, the medium, the small, and they coming for a piece. And this guy's recording. So apparently those were his last moments that he recorded, because once he showed the bears and they started moving, the video stopped, and then I guess that was it for him. But the whole point is, when you read precepts like that and they talk about judgment, it's not how you imagine it to be in your mind. It's how it actually is. A bear whipping up little children, there's gonna be blood all over the place. People gonna be screaming. You might see some bite marks, arms severed. That's what it actually looks like in real life. For people who want to play with the Lord. Talking about guys anywhere between 20 and 30 years. Anyway,
You know what I was thinking about that. So I was listening.
Anyway,
you know what I was thinking about that. So I was listening to y'all.
point that you
Yeah. No, I was going to say that him saying that lets you know that means that he's not, what he's teaching isn't going to be about getting ready for the kingdom, which is why what they're teaching is about marrying, giving into marriage, trying to get a piece of land, because they're not thinking about the return of Yahweh Shah right now. Right. They're not thinking about hastening his coming. So they're still looking at society or looking at life as if, hey, we got more time left here, so let's try to, build up our life here. But the scripture tells you that, the Lord is going to come at a day when you don't think he's going to come. And that's why he said you got to be ready and to watch. But those guys over there and the people that are following them, they're not watching. So what is going to happen? The Lord is going to come at a time that they're not paying attention, and they're not going to be prepared for it. And that's him from the leadership on down to all of the followers, man. A lot of people are going to be in a pitiful case because they're following after leaders that are not in the correct spirit of Yahweh Bash and Awashad. That's it.
got it, bro.
Yeah, Salakia, the thing lagged a little bit there. I don't know if it affected you guys as well, but hey, Shalom Zakwan Wa Akim Yahabash Brakatham. Got a quick precept here, going back to what brothers was saying about how these animals are gonna be tearing people up. But remember, in second Ezra, the 16th chapter, it talks about how the Lord is gonna make he said, then shall they be known who are my chosen, right? So it's not just a lot of things that's going to be happening in the spirit world that's going to be bestowed upon us, in terms of spiritual power and such, but also how nature is going to be dealing with us and dealing with us in our favor, right? It'll be pretty miraculous if you just walk in and then you see a raven bring you a basket of food, right? In modern day, today's day and age, you don't see that even in movies. Sometimes in movies, they probably don't even show you that, right? Because it's not something that they could fathom. The only time you think about raven, an animal, they're pretty smart, all right. But a raven feeding a human being is if it's divinely done by the Heavenly Father, right? But a person, you're not really thinking about a raven bringing you food, right? Same thing with a lion, right, pulling up on you, but then it crouches before you. Meanwhile, it's been tearing people left and right, ripping left and right, limbs up, down, all kinds of shit that's been going on, right? Slapping the ass off of people and shit. You know what I mean? But here it is, the lion is coming to you and it's crouching to you, man. It's like, yo, what's going on? Right? You could pet it and it's not going to do anything to you. Right? You could say, yo, come here, and you command it and it's going to pull up on you. When people see that, they're going to be like, yo, what the hell? Like, how you doing all this? Right? There's a book of Job, chapter 5 and verse 23. It says, for thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. Right? So rather than these animals who are known to be ferocious and be, known to attack people and so on and so forth, we're talking the ultimate predators, right? for people to see them actually be, responsive to a man's command that they don't even know, that's going to send shockwaves through people's system. People are going to be like, yo, what the hell? How are you doing this? How is this all happening? How is that you guys can eat? How do you have a damn a lion go and freaking hunt a damn deer and then bring it right to your doorstep in his mouth and then drop it right in front of you and say, all right, it's time to eat, and just walk away? Like, yo, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? These are things that we're going to be seeing. You know what I'm saying? They fly and then they go pick up some food somewhere and then just drop it right in front of you, or drop it on the side of your house, and you're like, yo, like every day at the same time, I'm getting food, I'm getting water. Like, damn, shit, the Lord might have it where you might just be in your house one day and then you might just see an animal, because these animals are smart, trust me, all right? And it might just pull up to your door, be knocking on your door, be kicking on your door, and you come out, you be like, yo, what is it? And then it just starts running away. And then you just follow it. Next thing you know, you go into this house and it's filled with a whole bunch of provisions. You like, yo, what? Like, yo, the Lord could do that, right? So you got to think of all these extraordinary ways in which the Lord is going to be feeding his men. We have faith in that. It doesn't sound like a fairy tale to us. We actually have faith in that because we've seen the marvelous works of the Lord, where we can't fathom that. We're like, yo, how did the Lord do that? Like, how? Lord, like, I didn't even think it was possible. But I had faith and believed that it is something is going to happen. I just didn't know how it's going to happen. But all I need is to believe that something is going to happen. And that's it. Leave the rest to the Lord, man. But you got it, bro.
Yeah, hey, well said, man. And it's interesting because, like, you have people today that are so helpless that even if the Lord did something like that for them, it'd probably go to waste. You got people that don't know how to prepare actual food. A lion or a bear might bring you a big ass freaking antelope, and now, okay, that's your food. Now you got to take it from there. You can't start a fire. You don't know how to freaking cut the animal. You don't know how to clean it. You don't know how to do any of those things. So here it is. You're just there. The food is here, but I don't know what to do next. So I mean, the Lord might have it to where he leads you to a place where it's like, food is already provisioned, right? You might walk into somebody who is a doomsday prepper's house, but they're not there, and then you, like in what movie was it?
Father the road.
Yeah, there's the road, and then there's Leave the World Behind, where she went into the they had like the little underground area where she found all those movie episodes of Friends and mad food and all that. The Lord might do that for you, or the Lord might have it to where you got to prepare that deer that's brought to you. But a lot of people today are so out of tune with reality that they wouldn't even know what to do if the Lord gave them a blessing in that time. Imagine being so wicked. The Lord is actually trying to lead you in the right way to deliver you, and your dumb ass goes the other way. Because it's scary to go alone by myself, so I'm gonna just follow the crowd and go over here, and they all go and get cooked. Yes, and
This book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and 10, and it reads, "For such as have not acknowledged me and have received benefits in my life,
Yeah, you've seen that now. That's why you gotta do is one. The last person that mentioned that, mentioned 1,000 years, saying that it didn't end too well for him. Let's just say that. So let's see. But as it says, have received benefits. And those benefits are not the benefits of the labor of righteousness, but the benefits of the other side, the worldly benefits. Okay? The only reason you're going, look, if you wanting to stay somewhere that you don't belong, it's only going to be for a specific reason. There's only going to, like, there has to be a reason that is keeping you there. Maybe that's the area you saw that fine ass chick last time. So that's why you're hanging around there all the time, hoping to see her again. It's not because you just love the area. And we don't like it here. We hate it here. So even if the Lord was like, yo, I'll give you, $1 million, I'll give you land. No, Lord, we want the kingdom. That's it. That's what we want. That's what we desire. So the earlier, the better. In fact, we want it so much that we're willing to, like, if Jacob's trouble was to start tomorrow, we'll be okay with it. Because that's how much we're yearning and hastening onto the return of Yahushua. That?
Verse 11, "And they that have loathed my law, while they had yet liberty, and when as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not, but despised it. The same must know it after death by pain."
Yeah, and you see that a lot, amongst Israelites who know they're Israelites and those who don't. Now what you're seeing is Now it's not just like Israelites who are Israelites that know they're Israelites, and then Israelites who just have no idea. Now those Israelites that used to have no idea are ones like you'll see videos like the elder Manat Zakbar will do videos where you'll see like Israelites scoffing on TikTok about the Hebrew Israelites. They are Israelites that don't identify themselves as Israelites. They don't identify themselves as Israelites, but they know about the Israelites, you know, and they've been told that they are Israelites. So the Most High is going to bring a judgment for you too, and that's why it says that know the law of the Lord. And it's the same thing you read in the scriptures again and again and again. It's like, damn, bro. God.
Verse 13, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished. And when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created.
Yeah, that's why, like, hey, like Juan said, you know, in the past you might have somebody come up and they can't receive it, but you still trying to, you know, give them the word and keep them there. Now it's just like, yo, if you come up, you have a question, cool. If not, it's you know, we're not here to entertain you. You know, we're not here like we don't need something from you.
Hey, and that's how you know, like how they try to slander and say like we're post.
Mhm.
And I forgot who I was watching. I think it was the brother from DC, the elder from DC, Madagon. He was going into basically like, you know, a cult. They try to restrain you, right? They try to keep you, you know, in a group.
Right.
But in the truth, you know, like how you said, it's like a revolving door. You know, you could be in and be out, and we want to, you know, the Lord keeps us, and we just going to keep it pushing. We're not going to keep, you know, trying to follow you, find you, like, yo, okay, come back here, you can't leave. Nah. You know, a lot of people are going to leave. People get kicked out. You know, it's not about trying to numbers, man. And that's what you got these other camps. They're about numbers, and you can tell based off of their mindset and based off of how they're just blindly following their leaders that's saying some bullshit. And what's the point? Like, what's the point of being a Hebrew Israelite in this time if you're not even looking to get delivered? Right. Like that's why the Elder Paul always said they're just, you know, Christians with fringes on, because that's the mindset of Christians. Christians, so-called Christianity, they're not looking for the kingdom of heaven. You don't never go into the church and then they're talking about actually we want the kingdom to come right now. I've heard Christians say, "No, I don't want him to come this year. I got some more stuff I need to do on the earth." Like that's their mindset. You see, but the true man of the Lord, because even Apostle Tahar, when he did this video, he said, you know, measuring the times, right? About, you know, he sees the MOTB coming out at the end of 2025, 2026, maybe 2027, right? And you know, and he said himself, you know, that's just my guess, right? It's not doctrine, and he could be wrong. Well, he's not. But the thing is, the mindset that he's pushing is what? Hastening the day of the Lord, hastening the time. Not saying, but see, Nate can't do that because he doesn't see that the chip is the MOTB.
Right.
So he can't make those measurements and measuring the time diligently because he don't see the prophet. He doesn't understand the prophecies. And then you got his guys behind him just. I'm looking at the guy. I'm like, so damn. So what you just want to just be here for another? Because he was kind of fairly young, the guy that was next to him. So that means like you just gotta just be here for another 20, 30 years because then he gonna be old and decrepit and die. But this guy's dead, so you just gotta, you know, hey, shit, I got another 20, 30 years of me. Let me go get my 401k ready. Let me go get my stocks ready. But see, when me and Ali Shah was talking about it, even if let's say we was here 20 years, what does life look like at that time? What is the buying and selling look like at that time? What is your ability to go from one city to another look like at that time? It's not gonna be like this. You think about 20 years ago, how society was, how life was. You didn't have to use your phone to tap and pay. You got cash. People were using cash, right? You didn't need a real ID to hop on a plane. So things, and that was before the whole what they call it intelligence age now, right? Because it went from the information age to the intelligence age. So with the intelligence age, they're saying, as Klaus Schwab said, that it's going to leap, right? The technology and this fourth industrial revolution is going to be exponential growth. So it's not going to go from, gradual. It's going to go from boom to boom. It's going to be jumping. Right? And you can clearly see that even with how AI is just being incorporated within society so quickly. From 1 year, because back in even 2020, AI wasn't how what it is now. The most AI was Zoom. Yeah, that's what people was talking about, Zoom meetings and shit like that. But now within the last, 1 or 2 years, AI is everywhere, man. To the point at work, that's a goal now. You got to find out how to harness the power of AI into your daily work. What the fuck? Like now we got to fucking try to figure out how to use AI. But that's the thing, ultimately, because they really want AI to be able to gather so much data from people using it so much that it takes over your job. Right? It becomes you. And then you become obsolete. And that's why Elon Musk said, hey, we don't want to have to use the AI, but we're going to have to do it because there's not going to be no jobs left. It's like separate, except with AI. Especially with AI and technology.
Yeah, but hey, that's a very, very that is very true. Everything is like moving towards like that artificial intelligence, like trying to incorporate it more and more and more. And like you said, before you know it, the things that you do, it's doing better than you. And it's constantly advancing because once you have it to a certain level where it can do the things you can do, why do you need 3 scientists if you can have 1 scientist and an AI scientist who can think faster than a regular like 3 scientists or 5 scientists combined?
They don't have to pay it.
Exactly. It doesn't sleep. You don't have to pay it. And then on top of that, if you notice, like companies like Nvidia and even Microsoft and Google, what they're also inventing side by side is new chips that have greater compute. So what that means is these AI algorithms can work faster and more efficiently because they have the actual physical manpower via these chips to do so, and that's how they can operate on higher levels. So they, like you said, when they grow exponentially, it's because they start incorporating AI into their research, and that makes the research go even faster and faster and faster.
Yep. Hey, and also, oh my bad. Then let me see something real quick. Okay. Also, you have them talking about I think it was Google partnering with the government to make more nuclear plants so that they could power basically the AI. And it's interesting because in the TV show The 100, the reason why society basically went to damn near extinction is because the nuclear plants. It happened 3 times. The first time it was because AI basically launched missiles because they were saying it was overpopulation. So and remember that's the whole thing with I think the thing was now Age of Ultron. He was basically saying humans was a problem, but that's something that they talk about, overpopulation.
Mm-hmm.
So AI it launched the missiles to depopulate, and then the second one was the nuclear plants started to melt, and it was causing radiation. So these devils over here talking about that they're trying to create more nuclear plants, and the way that they're doing it, they're actually the government is actually deregulating basically like the licenses. They're basically fast tracking everything so that they can just have them build these things quicker, so that they can have these databases built quicker. So they're cutting corners. They're not actually going through the whole process of getting approval, getting regulation, getting the land approval, all these things, and they're bypassing all that so that they can have these nuclear power plants. All these things is going to have detrimental consequences on the actual earth, right? Because this devil, he doesn't, going back to the law, he doesn't, follow the land Sabbath, right? He doesn't follow the laws of the actual land, So he's actually destroying the earth, and that's why it says in the book of Isaiah, the 24th chapter, brother can pull it up, that that what? Because the land is defiled because the inhabitants thereof, and because what? They transgress the law of the Lord. This devil, he controls the earth, he rules the earth, Job 9:24, but he doesn't rule it according to the proper way that it's supposed to be ruled, which is why it says in the book of Wisdom of Solomon, I believe it's the 6th chapter, that the wisdom of the wise, or something to that effect, is the welfare of the earth. The wisdom of the wise, the wisdom of the king, something like that, brother. Find it. Multitude. There you go. That's the word. Multitude of the wise is the welfare of the world, right? You're supposed to have wise, prudent leaders. And you can clearly see that Esau isn't wise or prudent. He's just doing whatever he wants without thinking about any other consequences. But that's the same thing, right? The scripture talks about that he hasn't considered the latter end. That there's a judgment for the way that he's ruling the earth right now, man. Because the earth was ultimately created for who? The ones who created the earth, starting with Yahweh Shai and Elohim.
Isaiah 24. I think it was 5. Right?
This book of Isaiah,
Yep.
chapter 24, verse 5, and it reads, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof.
Yep. And who is defiled on the earth? Right? Or should I say, who is the inhabitants? Right? It's not talking about littering. You know, then they want to give. There's actually laws against you littering. You throw some paper or toilet paper or a bottle. You throw a bottle. You throw a bottle on the floor. You can get a ticket for $200. But here it is. This devil, he can create mass waste. Right? Mass waste. Look what they're doing over there in Gaza. Completely destroying the whole land, and yet they're actually getting money to do that shit. They're getting paid to over here just to completely destroy the land, man. The Flint water, right? All that hasn't been fixed. The fracking, all that is destroying the earth. So when you talking about, there goes the neighborhood, right? We talk about when Jake moved in. Jake ain't destroying cities, man. They're destroying each other. They're not going throughout cities and just completely destroying cities. That's Esau's MO. That's his history. Even with Jake having their own cities, what did he do? He bombed it. So the earth being defiled on the inhabitants thereof is speaking about Esau, Edom. Hey, the water. I never. Back in the day, I used to go heavy into the ocean and the reef. You look at that back 20, 30 years ago, it was beautiful like that. I don't even like water like that, but I might want to snorkel and see that. But now it's all bleached. Yeah. That's why you got the animals, beaching themselves, man, because their inhabitation is being defiled by this devil, man. The actual ozone layer, the space. You got space garbage. There's garbage on the moon. There's garbage on Mars. They got certain satellites and little fucking little rover shit that they just left there. And it's devil like, yeah. Oh well.
Battery dies. Though.
The battery dies.
Because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant.
There you go. Right? I believe in Daniel, it tells you that he would think to change the laws in time. So that's what he's did. Okay? When the Lord set up Adam to be in the garden, he was what? He was basically to take, he said what? I forgot the word he used. But basically he was supposed to be the one to take care of that, man. Which really, speaking about the area, the temple. Right? He was supposed to actually, cultivate it to make it fruitful. The Lord is about
Was the word dress it, to dress the earth? Was it? Yeah.
You probably go into that word mean, but yeah, the Lord is about the multiplying and fruitfulness, man. In Esau's kingdom, everything is a scarcity. Why do you think people panic by when shit happens? Because they already know, like, yeah, there's not that much of this anyway. So let me buy enough so that when something happens, I can have enough. And that's the mindset of Esau, just hoarding everything to himself. It tells you that he heap treasures into himself. There's a little more on that.
Therefore, that the verse is finished when we read that.
Yeah.
Verse 6. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left.
Yeah, it said what? That the earth, the curse devoured the earth. And who are the people of the Lord's curse? Esau, Edom. And he has the fatness of the earth, and he didn't do anything good with it. When the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. And that's what you see happening right now, man. So there's going to be a whole shift, a new government on the earth, and that's where you're going to have actual light. After that 1,000 years of putting the laws into the people, having them understand the ways,
That's what you gotta do. Yeah, like that way, man. It's crazy. Um, once the elect started with, of course, Yahweh Shai and the house of David get in a position of authority, we're actually going to control the earth and have the earth be beneficial, man. They go back to what? A paradise, Eden again. But this right here, man, this is completely, when you come out of Babylon, I just came back. When you come out of Babylon, you go to other countries, you can even see it just a little bit. How over there is just better, man. The food quality is better. The drinks, they actually have your drink isn't when you get orange juice or strawberry juice, it's not strawberry flavored, right? It's not high fructose corn syrup to make it taste sweeter. Nah, it's actual freshly squeezed strawberry juice, passion fruit. Over here you get passion fruit flavor. I was over there, I was like, I didn't even know passion fruit was actual fruit. I'm like, oh shit! I thought it was like just a flavor, a concoction of different fruits. But that's actually something that's over there that is and over there in Ecuador. That's an actual fruit that is popular over there. But over here in Babylon, man, this shit's hell, bro. Yeah. And you won't even. We know it, but you won't. When you go out of Babylon, you see how much more hell you really are in Babylon.
Yeah, because nature has its own sweeteners. Like in Ghana, we used to have this tree that would have red berries. So they were like kind of small, like almost the size of like a raisin or so. And you would just pull it off of the tree, you put it in your mouth, and it's like candy. Like you just like, have it there, marinate it a bit, and then afterwards it sweetens your taste buds. So anything else you eat after that is sweet. So like to eat an orange, we would like take 2 or 3 of those, eat them, and then after that eat the orange, and it tastes like actually sweet. Use that to eat grapes, use that to eat oranges. And we also had like passion fruit as well. We made like juice from it and everything. So yeah, that's to your point.
Yeah, it was Tampico.
Yeah.
Sugar water with food color. Yeah. I did when I was out there, I went on Google and I basically looked to see like the cancer rate out there.
Mm-hmm.
They said that the cancer rate in America is 300 times higher than over there in Ecuador. Now, when you think of Ecuador, they try to tell you, oh, it's dangerous. You got gangs, you got, you can't go out, whatever. Now, of course, every place got that, but the fact that your actual health is better over there, that lets you know something, man. Right. And it's because over here, Esau will tell you, oh, yeah, we got, natural stuff too, but then they'll charge you crazy amount. I got, strawberry drink over there for, I think that shit was like $1.50. Cheap as hell, bro. I had a whole breakfast, me and my Eve, for $20, bro. $20. I'm like, yo, this is yo. I'm like, yo, this devil, bro. Like, yo, I'm telling you, bro, it's just shit's ridiculous. But you go over here to a natural food store, you gonna get charged $10. Yep. For an 8-ounce cup.
Yep. Crazy. Did I say that, Haroon?
Yeah, I was going to say, man, I had a quick precept here in the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 2. It says, treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. The Lord Yahweh will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. So going back to the point that the Zaquan was making about how, Esau is able to manipulate the whole earth and all its resources to benefit him. But he does it in ill-gotten ways. Like he'll go to your country, he'll start some propaganda, he'll come in there, and then he'll destroy what you have, steal all the goods, and then leave you in poverty. And then now you're subject unto him. Because now once he takes all your resources, he turns it back and says, buy it from us by making deals with us. We're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. And by giving you this and that, which is military help or so-called economic help, it always comes with strings attached. And the next thing you know, a few years later on, that whole country is destroyed. Right? But look at what Zaquan just said. You go to Ecuador, for example, of course they're going to say, oh, it's dangerous out there. Well, motherfucker, everywhere is dangerous, bro. But we're men of the Lord, so we don't really look at danger like that. Danger doesn't just happen to us. It doesn't happen. If it happens, it's because the Lord is setting something up. Like, there's a reason for it type shit. It doesn't happen just randomly. So we're not afraid of that. We don't go into play like, oh man, there's gangs, they're going to come after me. Nah, bro. The Lord is with you. You ain't worried about that, right? But the point is, That's all part of the propaganda, because if it was so dangerous out there, how is that they still have order over there? Like, you make it seem like there's no other way besides America outside of America. Like, there's people out there, there's civilization, there's culture, like there's actual hospitality, there's life. You know what I'm saying? There's people who actually think and behave like human beings, unlike here in this Babylon crazy ass psychiatric ward, right? So you mean to tell me that a brother could go to a different country and enjoy life completely different? The air is different, the water different, the food is different, the people are different, the energy is different, the earth is different, right? Everything is different. And then you come back here, you tell me, oh, America is where it's supposed to be. Come on, man, stop playing. All right? But see, the Lord has blessed us with the ability to see these things for what they really are, right? Because for so long, like Zaquan was saying, last time we spoke, he was even saying that Jake don't get to travel. Jake don't get to experience outside of Babylon. So to Jake's mind, this is all there is, you know? But you wait till you go into different countries, man, and you get to see different lifestyles out there. You be like, oh, shit. Then you really start to hate Esau. I saw this video of this Jake who went to DR. I think he went there for like a week or so. And when he got there, he's like, yo, what? Like, yo, he in the pool. Like, this guy works a regular job, like a warehouse job type shit. You know, he's not even making that much money. He got to stress every day, wake up mad early, go work these crazy ass hours, right? And then he goes to DR and he's being treated like a king. He got all these women around him. You know what I'm saying? He got food being served, water, drinks, all these different things, and he's enjoying it. And then he finally gets coming back to Babylon, and the nigga got tears in his eye and shit. I said, damn, this is real hell, bro. You know? He's coming to the airport. He's like, man, I want to go back to DR. Like, he's slamming his luggages around and shit. You know? He's like, I got to come back to this hell shit. Yo, he's mad. You know? But this is why, brother brought out in Hebrews, right? We seek, we're looking for a continuous city. We seek one to come, right? We're looking for that city, that new Jerusalem, man. This is what worth fighting for, because all of this shit stops. You know what I'm saying? Esau destroying the earth, you know, going back to the coral reef example, right? They're literally destroying the whole entire earth, man. You know, literally destroying it, literally physically bombing places, putting damn missiles underwater, right? You got companies that throw waste. When they come into these rural, neighborhoods and stuff, these inner cities, and they pick up your trash, they clear out the sewer and all these different things, they go and dump it into the rivers, into the ocean. Okay? And why are you doing all that? There's different ways to cultivate the earth. There's different ways to clean up the filth that is created by our doings. There's different ways to do it, rather than polluting space and all this extra shit that they say. That these animals, the ocean life is being destroyed because of all these filth and chemicals that's being poured into the ocean, man, on a daily basis. All right, we're talking about millions and billions of gallons a day from these stupid ass corporations, man. All right, and then they turn around and they say, "Oh, global warming is being caused by humans' activity." No, it's being caused by these major conglomerates, man. These huge corporations that all they care about is money. That's what's causing all this shit. All right. So for Gil Bates to come up and say, "Oh, in order to cut out the carbon, we're gonna have to cut down trees," nigga, are you stupid, bro? The trees were created so it could suck up the carbon, bro, and give us oxygen. So no, you're gonna destroy the trees that's supposed to do the basically the lungs of the earth. You're gonna take that away. The one that cleanses the atmosphere for us to have clean air. You're gonna destroy all that and then turn around and say we gotta depopulate people so we don't have too much carbon. That's a devil for you, man. That's a devil for you. All right. But you got it, bro.
Revelation 11 and 18.
That's fun.
Okay. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And when you go into the word for destroy there, it could also be corrupt, because that's part of what they do. They're corruption. The mindset is where it begins, because when you have a mindset of capitalism, that's a part of their wine. Capitalism means by any means acquire wealth, by any means get more coins unto yourself. That means you don't care about what happens to the environment. You don't care what happens to animals. You don't care what happens to people. That's just complete gluttony. And this is the doctrine that has been spread throughout the whole earth. That's why China's polluted. That's why it says, Asia, thou art partaker of Babylon. Paraphrasing it. Because they're doing the same shit. That same mentality of Esau has spread throughout the world. So now the nations, they're following that. But now they're seeing that they got a raw deal. There's so much pollution in some of those Chinese cities. The smog alone, you can get sick from it. If you just go and if you were to take us from here to there, some of those cities are even more toxic than Babylon. They don't even have no regulations.
It's so much smog that it basically blocks out the sun. Yeah, some of those cities, just like it's always just foggy, and you would think it was like, oh, it's just a foggy day. Like, nah, that's just straight pollution, man. That they're just inhaling over and over. But also, when you go into that word "destroy," one of the definitions it says to pervert. When you go into pervert, it says to alter something from its original course, meaning or state to Salakia. Not back. Alter something from its original course, meaning or state to a distortion or corruption of what was first intended. You know, and that's why when you go in Isaiah 14, not 14, 47, brother can pull that. It says what? That in wisdom and your knowledge has perverted thee, right? So, because Esau, he has wisdom and knowledge, but it's on the left-hand side, right? It's bizarre. We always say he's the bizarre of Superman. Okay, so what he has done is alter something from its original course. The earth was originally set up, was originally created. When you read in Genesis, when the Lord created the ordinances, he created the ocean, he created the land, he created the cattle, he created man, right? He said what? It is good, right? That the way that the Lord had the blueprint, the Heavenly Father had the blueprint mapped out for Yahweh Shai and Elohim to create things. It was good. It was a good order that things were set up in. But this devil came and altered that. And he did that by way of his deception and creating a delusion or an illusion to the masses of people to think that, oh, this way is better, which is what they call what? Now augmented. So you have an augmented reality. So he altered something and said, oh, no, this is an upgraded way. But it's really not, right? It's really a degradation, a decadency of the way that society, the way that humanity, the way that life is supposed to be ran, which is why you have now people dying younger, getting sick younger, right? You got children that got cancer. And I was thinking when we were just talking about the foods and everything, these devils, because there's this TV show called White Lotus, the last season. You had this one chick, she was basically born into an affluent family. So they got, they was accustomed to the best of the best clothes, best foods, the best areas. But she felt overprivileged. So she wanted to become a monk and wanted to live like a Buddhist, for a year. So when she went to go to the little Buddhist little sanctuary area, she did it for a day to see how they lived. And the food that they were eating were very low level food. So she was like, basically, oh, I can't do this. I didn't know how bad the food was, just so nasty. It wasn't Whole Foods. It wasn't, a great quality. So her mom was like happy. She was like, see, baby, I told you. It was like, and she was like, no, but it's wrong. She's like, and it's funny because there was a spiritual message in that with the Edomite woman, right? Because you see a lot of Edomite women be trying to pander to Jake, right? And try to pander to the struggle and shit. Jake calls it.
Huh? Jake calls it. So the Edomite mom was basically saying that, we as women, basically talking about Edomite women, we have to just accept our role, that we have, because we're fortunate to be able to live this type of life. And everybody in the world, they dream of lives that we actually live. And when you look at these Edomites that are high, living on high hog, that's the truth. These other people, they all aspire to be these rich Edomites. And then when you look at the Rothschilds, when you look at even Warren Buffett, why do you think they live so long? They live into their 90s. It's not you think they they just the greatest fitness people. No, it's because that their actual lifestyle allows them to live longer because they're not eating bullshit. They're eating, as the brother said, they're eating the best of the best foods. And it shows you that in that movie Snowpiercer. The people that was at the front of the train, they were actually eating the foods that were good foods, while the people on the back of the train they had to eat cockroach bars. Right, you should eat the bugs. But so you have the Rothschild, you have Warren Buffett, you have all of these super rich people. They live into their 90s, right? And they're not as if like they just like, I mean, they look horrible, but they still are able to live longer because they're actually their whole lives they're eating the actual organic foods of things, man. They're eating the best meats, they're eating the best fruits. While everybody else, you know, especially with Jake, our lifespans, they say in Babylon, the lifespan of a Jake man, especially a southern kingdom, I think is what, 71, 72. They have the lowest lifespan out of all nations in Babylon. I think after that is what the northern tribe. And then you got the Edom, I think Edom, and then Moab is the top two. But there it is. So they get to live an extra 20 years, right? And it's not as if, like, once again, they're doing something differently as far as the genetic makeup. It's because we're underneath the curses and we are living in the worst condition. So we're getting the worst quality of food. We're getting the worst quality of water. We're living in the worst neighborhoods, which that brings stress, which stress is a silent killer. So all these things was institutionally set up for Jake to be in this horrible condition. Then we get into worse education so that our people don't even have the mindset to be able to say, you know what, let me not eat this way, or let me try to live a better way. Okay, and then they're overly worked, so it's like you don't even have time to actually cook your own food. So they put all these fast food restaurants, they put the Chicken Shack, they put the Chinese spot in the Black Jake neighborhoods, and then they're just profiting off of Jake, and that goes into the parable of what the Lazarus and the rich man and the dog licking the wounds. So you can clearly see that this society is set up against us, man. So there's no way in hell that you're supposed to be in that mindset of 20 and 30 years left. Right. You don't want Jake to live. If you saying that, man, you don't care about Israelites if you thinking 20, 30 years from now, man, or 1,000 years from now.
Got it good though. Chilling.
But he's for the community though.
Right.
He's for the community, but you want to let Jake to live in Babylon for another 30 years, man.
Wicked. I had a precept for you when you mentioned what that Edomite woman said. This is Psalms chapter 73, verse 3. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. But there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men.
Yep. And when you look at Edomites, man, Edomites don't have that same mindset of danger. You know, they don't think about when the cops roll by the flashing lights. They don't get that little shit. You getting scared for no reason. You know, you go on the speed limit. You ain't do shit. You got the seatbelt on. You checking, making sure you got the seatbelt on, doing everything. Like what? Yeah. But they're not, like you said, they're not in trouble as other men. When they go to other countries, they're not afraid. Because they're in the best of the best places. Mm-hmm. They actually have the other countries have like bodyguards, you know, follow them, or the resorts that they stay at is like a small little compound. He got guns and shit, like, yo. But when you go there, when Jay go there, you can't afford that. So you got to go to like find the best of the worst.
Right. Hey, but that's why. But you know what? The Most High set it up that way because, you know, like you said, this society is directed against Jake. And that's because the Most High set it up that way. Because really, this is supposed to be a captivity of Israel. You know, and that's supposed to be a punishment of Israel. That's why the Lord has it to where these nations, starting with Esau, Edom, do everything in their power. All of their new policies are all against Jake. You know, like I mentioned before, I have yet to see a Moabite go through the court about baby mama paying child support and doing all those things. I'm yet to see that. You know, I'm yet to see Moabite having to deal with, like, first of all, I mean, in the movies I've seen an obese Moabite, but in real life, I don't even remember the last time I saw a fat ass Moabite. You know, like a Buddha looking type dude. You know, they don't do those kinds of things. You know, and the things that trouble us that we complain about, they don't complain about those things because it doesn't affect them. You know, they can have shops in these like whack ass trash neighborhoods, and they're good. You go in there, that Moabite is always in there. You know, old ass Moabite always in there, quietly doing his thing. That's because all that money they make when they go back home to their area, they have like some of them own businesses, corporations. You know, and how they do that? They come over here or they go to some of these countries. Haran was even telling me what they'll do is like as students, if they're in college, they'll get like 7 to 10 of them renting out one apartment, and they're only at home when they need to sleep. They'll be at like a cafe doing their tech stuff or whatever, and they're like, yo, if an apartment is $2,000 a month and there's like 10 of us, I'm paying like what, a couple hundred, and I'm saving up majority of my money. We put together money, we buy groceries, eat freaking ramen noodles. You know, you finish your 4 years and dude has amassed mad wealth. You know, and so by the time he goes back, he's good. He's putting in investments here over here. They're creating startups. When you look at these founders, it's Edomites or Moabites, all right, or maybe an Elamite here and there. You ain't seen Jake over there.
And when you also go into when they come over here, they get tax exemptions too. You know, India and America set up a pact to where any of Indians that come over here for work, when they get those I forgot what it's H-2B visas, they get tax exemptions to where you don't have to pay federal income tax. So the money that you're making, you know, when you got that contract work, they actually get paid more for contract work. So they're getting you know, $120,000, $150,000, $180,000 all gross, man. And where I used to live, most of the people that was there, because I was even talking to the managing property manager or whatever, because they had raised my rent like fucking $1,000. I'm like, yo, why you raising my rent $1,000? And it was like, you know, it's because the people, no, it's the income that is around here, and the people that are coming here, they actually are contract workers, so they only you know, getting an apartment for a year or two, and they got mad money because it's contract work. So they're able to pay $3,000, $5,000, and because it's a privately owned company, there's no rent. There's no rent stabilizer. So like my neighbors, nothing but Moabites, Ammonites, and some Elamites. They got fucking Ferraris. They got Porsches, Lamborghinis. I'm like, who the fuck am I next to? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, nah, I gotta get the hell up out of here. Like, this shit don't make no sense.
Second Ezra 3:28. Are their deeds then any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 30th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and hast spared wicked doers, and hast destroyed thy people, and hast preserved thy enemies, and hast not signified it.
Yeah, that's what Ezra was complaining about, because being in Babylon, he saw them worshiping idols. He saw them living wicked lifestyles, and he's like, but we are the captives over here. So Lord, what's going on? And he also mentions that he's like, we're the only ones that actually glorify your name. Why are they doing better than us?
31st verse. I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than they of Zion? Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel?
See, and really, when you look, that's why knowing your history and knowing who you are is important. Because that first part, if you didn't know that you were Israelite, that's why you got a majority of Jake that think that they are supposed to be at the bottom, that they are the lesser of the nations of people, right? That they esteem these other nations as being, oh, you know, the Chinese, they're so smart. Oh, you know, Esau, man, he knows his business. He knows all these things because it's really because of what the Lord did, that he put us low and he put them, and that was part of the curses. That the heathen that should be around about you should get up very high and you should be very low. But that's why going back to, I think, Psalm 73, where it says that I didn't understand this until I went to the sanctuary of the Most High. When you go back to the scriptures, then you're able to put the whole pieces of the puzzle together. Then you able to understand, like, oh, okay, we actually really are the Lord's chosen, clearly, but we fucked up. And that's why I think Micah said, I shall bear the indignation of the Lord because I have transgressed. That's what we're doing now. And we understand, like, we fucked up. Lord, we're sorry. Forgive us. Let us turn back into you. And we're going to bear this indignation until you have mercy upon us. And we know you're going to have mercy upon us because you said you're going to have mercy upon us. And you send Yahweh Shai to be the mercy for us, man. So everything now we're seeing this play out to the point where, okay, now we just need to have patience and wait on the Lord. And he's going to flip everything. And that flip is going to be the craziest flip that any writer, director, movie is going to be so far beyond anything, man. When you get the actual these niggas ruling the earth, like you think about like these niggas, huh? Who? The craziest plot twist ever, man. But that's what these people are not looking. That's why they can laugh at us, they can mock us, they can scoff us, because they're like, there's no way in hell y'all niggas gonna be it. Shit, China gonna get it before y'all.
That's how you know Jake is finished, because you really think Moab and Elam are over you? That they smarter than you? They're not all they cracked up to be. They're just good at regurgitating Esau's bullshit in these schools, man. That's what they're good at. Look at them industrial accidents, man. When they go, they be dying in some fucked up, funny ass ways, man. Because they stupid as hell. When that juice came out, they was the first ones lined up. They ain't as smart as they cracked up to be. You know? They had in India, they have a shit throwing contest for their idol, bro. How the fuck is this people better than you? But Jake has such low self-esteem. Big chunks of dookie just chucking it, bro. And this is the people, Ishmael, they be doing the thing where they cut themselves, which is what the worshippers of Baal did back when Elijah was going against them. So they're not what they cracked up to be, but you've been brainwashed and you've been on the bottom for so long, you really think they're better than you. They're not better than you.
It's because Jake has been dumbed down. So it gives the appearance as though they are smarter. But that really goes to show you the level that we were really on. Because if you look at them today, you're like, yo, these guys, they running through them calculus classes and shit, light work. And you're like, damn, I'm struggling on here just to pass algebra. But you know that in past times, you were far above them. Which goes to show you, like Zaquan said, when you go back to the scriptures and then you realize, oh, this is why I'm going through this. Really, you rejoice. Because you rejoice, obviously not because you're going through it, but because the fact that you're going through it is a sign that you are a part of the Lord's chosen people. So it confirms, okay, the Lord is dealing with me, and that's why I'm here. I'm just not in my best state right now. That's why this is the case that's going on. But you have a lot of Israelites that as the scriptures say, they suffered not their body to be put in graves because they never actually educated Israelites on who they actually were and why they were in this condition that they were in. So that's why the scriptures say that Jake never really had rest. They always thought like, damn, like something is wrong with me just because of the way I look, or just by being born an Israelite, I'm already at the bottom. I'm starting off, with a handicap just because. So they thought that their melanin was bad. They thought their woolly hair was bad because the master was like, don't do it. So they'll go and buy freaking curling irons to straighten their hair. Meanwhile, it's really in the
Like, West Africa, they be making some wild inventions, man. Like, Babylon is really the problem. Because when you come here, you become corrupted. And it's like they constantly dumbing you down. They shooting you up with all types of poison from the time you're born, and that fucks up your brain. And who's the one that's getting it the most? Us. They push that shit on us the most.
They use us as a test. That's why you think Esau always says in the medical field, the African Americans has the most high blood pressure or the highest level. This is more prevalent in the so-called Black American, the so-called Latino American or the Native American, right? They have these tests to see that the way that we fucked them up. Let's test them and see how bad they get fucked up, and then we can see, okay, this is why X, Y, and Z. This is how we're going to keep keeping them in a fucked up position. Because when your body is messed up, then you don't really your body, your mind, your soul, spirit, all that's going to be intertwined, man. if when you work out, when you feel good physically, you're gonna feel good spiritually, and vice versa. But Esau, he uses that witchcraft to have our people in a fucked up position all around. So to where now they're not even thinking about a way to get higher spiritually. They're like their only concern is like, yo, how can I get out of this like the crabs in the bucket? How can I get out of this bucket? And then you got Esau, dangling some meat, or hey, this is how you get out of it. This is how you're gonna come out, and you're never gonna reach that plateau. So now Jake is in their mindset. I just want to sit at the table.
Right.
I just want to see that. That's my way of getting out of this condition.
Crazy.
Going back to 2 Ezra 3:32, or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation have so believed thy covenants as Jacob? Now think about that. That's all the way from, especially, slavery, but even up until this time. What people are so inclined to go into the Holy Bible, even though majority of our people don't have a clue how to interpret it, but it's our people that are saying the ones that are so connected to this book, man. Got the zeal. That got exactly. They have the zeal. Nobody else. And when you want to go into the actual truth of the scriptures, who else doing it?
Right.
Who else is bringing out the actual name of the Heavenly Father Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai? You got no other nation doing that, man. No, every other nation that goes in the Bible, they call it on Jesus Christ. Yep. And they're singing the same doctrine of Esau Edom. But it's actually there's nobody else in the world that is calling themselves the Hebrew Israelites, because them rats over there don't even call themselves Israelites. They call themselves the Israelis. Yeah. And their book, they go into the Talmud more than they go into the scriptures. So you got nobody else on the planet Earth that is doing what we're doing right now, man. Standing up for the righteousness of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So that's why the scripture says that they shall be behold, I and the children that whom are with me are for a sign. We're the actual sign that we are the Israelites. Right. And that became a problem now, which is why you have all this commotion with trying to come up against the Hebrew Israelites. Because the one thing that this devil doesn't want, and these other nations, is for the Israelites to remember themselves. Right. Because when we remember ourselves, we will remember who you are. And then that's going to be not good. That's not going to be good news. They got to the point where the small hats are discrediting the Bible. But where does the concept of being a chosen even originate in the scriptures? But then they'll say, yes, we believe we are those people, but we don't subscribe to what's written in the book. Make some damn sense. But that allows them to just brush it under the rug. What's it in Psalms that says that they cast it behind them? Mm-hmm. Get it. What is out? Take my covenant in thy hand. Yeah, see, that's thou hatest instruction. Right. So that's what they do. They don't actually want to take heed to what's written, but they want the benefits of being the chosen. You don't get to have both. Either you follow the Lord and you say this is it, and honestly, even if you tried to, you couldn't. It ain't for you.
Yeah, that's what they did back in ancient Rome during the Dark Ages. They separated over time the Christians from the Jews to make it seem as though to be a Christian. So that's the way they were able to do that is like what they do with Judaism today. They take it from being an actual nationality and turn it into a practice. And that way anybody can be a Christian. That's how the pagan Roman Empire became the Holy Roman Empire, where you had Edomites and Israelites and different nations calling themselves. So you had three main factions. You had the Moors, which were Israelites. You had the Jews, which were Israelites, and you had Christians, which were Israelites. But they looked at each other as different by separating Jew and Christian into two separate sects. And now they're trying to do that with the Bible. They'll say, like people today are confused about the Torah. They think the Torah is like its own standalone thing and has no connection to the Bible. But it flows into the Bible, because when you go into the book of Joshua is connecting off of the first 5 books. So when they say the Torah, they think of like, and it comes from a standpoint of ignorance, people who don't actually read the book. So when they make these claims, it's like you ask them, what are you saying? Like, it doesn't make sense, because how can you have the Torah and then you act like the Bible is a separate book? The Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible, And if you were to read the Bible without the Torah, all the references made in there, where are you going to find those? Water. That's it.
To Second Ezra 3:33. And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor hath no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth and think not upon thy commandments.
And this is it. It's very spiritual because the things that were happening back then are the same things happening now. You know, and Ezra, the spirit that Ezra is in is the spirit we're in, right? So it's like the Lord does that, where He'll have like somebody's real time life be a similitude or a representation of what would happen on a greater scale, right? Like Hosea's life. So what Ezra was experiencing, we're experiencing the same thing today, and it's spiritual that it's also in Babylon, right? Just like he was complaining in Babylon, we're also complaining in Babylon. This for the same reasons he was, you know. And the angel told him, I believe there's a part in there, not in this specific chapter, but the angel said basically, you also had other men like Ezra in their chambers wondering when the fruit of their reward would come, and that's the same thing we're doing now. If you're wondering when the fruit of your reward is going to come, you're not thinking 20 or 30 years. You know, who goes for a job, right? Sometimes you go for a job and then you expect to get paid on the first paycheck, and they'll tell you, no, it's still processing you in the system, so you'll get it on the next paycheck, but it'll include your first working amount. If you went and you did that job and they told you, well, you can expect it within 3 to 5 years, you know, anywhere between 3 to 5 years. That's my approximation. What you think you gonna tell the boss when he tells you that? Like, yo, I've been working. Oh, there's that video Haran sent me. Yo, Jake, bro. This guy, he said he went and got hired at a job, and you know, he worked day one, they didn't pay him. So, you know, he's like, all right, hey, maybe science ain't too right out here, but I'm gonna just wait. So he goes second day of work, they still ain't pay him. So he goes to the manager's office the third day. He said, yo, I'm not playing this shit with y'all no, but what's going on? I'm working, y'all not paying me. You know what I'm saying? I've been here working 3 days of work, and y'all still ain't paying me yet. And the manager looking at him all confused, like, nigga, we pay on a bi-weekly cycle. Why are you asking for money on the third day? This dude is thinking, nah. I'm in here, I work for this many hours, so I'm supposed to be getting paid daily. What's spiritual is that really that is how he's supposed to be getting paid. But the point is, his expectation was, I'm supposed to be getting paid for the work I'm doing now. You know, not 2 weeks from now, not 2 months from now. So if you are truly laboring, as the scriptures say, the Most High, He's not unrighteous as to forget our labor of love, which you have labored towards His name. So we're laboring and we're expecting our reward. When Peter asked Yahushua, he said, what are we going to get for following you? You know, he was in the mindset of, well, I mean, we're doing the work, but like, we kind of gave up everything to follow you, Lord, and you're the Messiah. So like, what's going to be the return on this investment? You know, and that's the spirit that we're in. We're looking for the return on this investment to hit as soon as possible. Yep. There you go.
I was going to say that, I mentioned about Ezra's and being in that same stead in the Lord, right? Here in the book of 2 Ezra 8, verse 61, it says, now therefore is my judgment at hand. These things have I not shewed unto all men, but unto thee and a few like thee. See, so the Lord didn't show, the prophecies and the judgments unto all men. And that's why Paul spoke about how you have some men that heap themselves to be teachers, right? Because also it said that, but these men run, but I have not sent them. That's why they don't go into prophecy. When you actually look at what they're really talking about, they're not going into prophecy because the Lord didn't show them prophecy. Right? And you can't go into prophecy unless you be shown prophecy. The only thing you can do to the most is just regurgitate what somebody else said about prophecy, or try to be reactive prophecy. Which you see these guys now trying to talk about the digital ID, because they're being reactive to prophecy. But prophecy, is proactive. You're saying before these things take place, and that's why the Lord said that when the prophecy comes to pass, then you're going to know whether or not if I have sent them or not. If the thing that prophet says don't come to pass, then don't hearken unto him, because he is not somebody I sent. You see, so the Lord said, "I show these to thee, being Ezra, and a few like thee." It's only a few. The sanctuary of the Lord is small, and as you just quoted, those that labor toward His name, and that's the key thing, because what we're doing, we're laboring for a reward, but the labor is toward the name of the Lord. Everything that we're saying is to the glorification of the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. heathens, right? I was listening to a little clip of, I think it was Pakistan, when they was talking about responding into India. He said his little spiel, and then at the end of it, he was like, Alhamdulillah, right? These nations are going to war in the name of their gods. We are spiritually at war in the name of our God. So we're going to find out whose God is real. Because even the more Hamas and the 48ers, when that whole thing started, they both did their little speeches, and they both said, in the name of our gods. Netanyahu said Hashem, and then they said Allah, that we're going to defeat them. We're going to defeat them. Because that lets you know that there is still a spiritual connection that people know, or should I say, the people on the earth, right? They do things in the names of their gods. The idols have always been there, even in the ancient times, right? When you had in the book of Nebuchadnezzar, right? He was to do what? Worship his god. And it was that dragon in the bell and the dragon. That was an idol that the heathens believed was real and wanted Jake to worship. So right now, the same thing, 2025, these heathens are making moves, going to war in the name of their gods. But you can clearly see that Allah ain't coming through for them, man. And then they gonna find out Hashem ain't gonna come through for them. And then Babylonians gonna find out Jesus Christ ain't coming through for them. China gonna find out Buddha ain't gonna come through for them. India gonna find out Christian not gonna come through for them. And that's how the Lord said that what his name is going to be, his power is going to be made known on the earth. Because it's only the elect of the nation of Israel that are calling upon the one and only true living God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Proverbs 18:10. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run up into it and is safe.
There you go. So the name of Yahweh, because when you go into that word L-O-R-D, capital, it's the name there. And all throughout the scriptures, I believe Isaiah 42, the scripture says that what? Yahweh is my name. I think it says the Lord is my name, or my name is Yahweh, something to that effect. But the Lord makes it very clear. The brother Shalomah opens up his videos all the time and goes into the name of the Lord, because that's what this is about. These heathens, they're boasting in their gods, but it's a problem when Israel boasts in our God. Because what we're doing, we're not bombing nobody. We ain't got no ballistic missiles. We're not doing T attacks on anybody. Right? But the fact that we're coming in the name of our God, that's a problem for you heathens. Right. Because and you eat it, especially Esau Edom, because you know that our God is the one and true living God, man. And he's going to manifest that.
It's like I got you. Right. It's like everybody got toy guns, but we the only ones with a real gun. So whenever we grab our shit, it's a problem. And everybody else is it's fine. You can't do that over here. You can't do that over here. You got it, bro.
Hey, that also proves to you that we are actually the true children of the Most High.
Spiritual gun.
It's the book of Judges, chapter 10, verse 14. It says, "Go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation." Right? So it's the same thing, right? You chose Hare Krishna because you want to be a Buddhist, right? How you a Jake but you a Buddhist? That shit don't make no sense, but alright. And then you got the so-called Christians, and then the Muslims, and so on and so on. You got IUIC teaming up with the Islam Church and all that. You know, all this madness stuff. The Lord is saying, go and cry unto the gods which ye have chosen. So those names that you believe in, IUIC calls them Most High and Christ blessed. Whoever that is, you're going to have to call upon that God. All right, because vocab try to be slick talking about Bishnei, and then be using, they be talking about Yahushai. They don't use Yahushai. They don't speak the name of Yahushai. All right, because they and I believe through the Spirit that Bishnei indulges in left-handed energy, and that's why it's harder for him now to even utter the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Okay, because that's the only way. You sell out and you engage in that, you know, Kabbalah shit. Yeah, you believe in all kinds of crazy shit, you know, which you got to pledge oaths to be in the police force. So imagine what kind of oaths he's been pledging on the left-hand side, and that's why he can't say the names Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Oh, Most High in Christ bless. Well, the Lord said, go cry unto them gods. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation, right? Because you're gonna call upon Yahweh Bashim Yahushua because you know that's the true names, but because you wanna, do your left-handed deals and shit, you wanna say, oh, I'm not gonna call upon those names. When the trouble comes from the dealings that you're doing on the left-hand side, right, you're gonna call upon the Lord, and that's when we're gonna be mocking you because you're not gonna get no answers, man. You're not gonna get no responses, man, and that's gonna be tough, right? Depart from me, for I never knew you. You're gonna get that in the spirit and in the physical, and that's gonna be tough to bear, man. All right, the Lord said, what? There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, see men crying because of there's no hope, right? They see all the wickedness that they did is catching up to them, right? All the denouncing of the name of the Lord, cursing Yahweh Bashim Yahushua's men, all these things is all gonna come back to you, man. All right, and that's not, it's not just them; it starts with them, right? Judgment shall begin in the house of the Most High first. All right, and then on down to the rest of you wicked ass two-thirds doing videos now talking about, oh, these Hebrew Israelites this, Hebrew Israelites that. Okay, go cry unto your gods when the tribulation that the Hebrew Israelites are warning you about start coming. All right, you got it, bro.
First Kings 18:24. And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of Yahweh, and the God that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken. So in the same sense of Elijah's contest with the prophets of Baal, the same kind of contest is happening now. We're calling on the name of our God. They're calling on their various vain, empty, non-existent gods. And we're going to see the power that answered by fire, with the fire came down upon the bullock back then. Now you're going to have another sacrifice here. And America, Babylon the Great is going to be that sacrifice. And the Lord, the power that answers by fire, we're going to see that that's going to be the true and living. These other gods are not going to answer. They're going to be on vacation, like Elijah said. They're going to be on vacation. They're going to be chilling, picking their feet up somewhere gone. But Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to show up. It's going to be a one-punch knockout, man. Hey, because when you see what's happening in the world, what is being built up? Fire. War brings fire, right? Hey, Isaiah 96, you brother, bring that out. Believe it or not, maybe 6 or 5, right? War now is about fire, man. So when you got these various different wars breaking out throughout the earth, these nations are getting bombed, these people are getting bombed, they're crying to their gods, right? There's Allah help us. Oh. So what did Yahweh Shah say? I've come to send fire upon the earth. And what will I if it be not already kindled? So the fire is going to get to the point where we're going to be, we're already calling upon our God, right? And Yahweh Shah is actually going to come and deliver us. So he is going to, as you just read in our First King, he's going to answer by fire. The fires that is accumulating on the earth is going to provoke Yahweh to send Yahweh Shai to answer our call for deliverance. But these other nations that are calling upon their gods and our people that are calling upon these other nations' God, there's not going to be no answer. So now you're going to be consumed by the fire. It's not going to be the bullock that's going to be lit up. It's going to be you. You're going to be the sacrifice. That's why the Lord said, I have a great sacrifice in Basra. That's the people here. You got it.
This is Isaiah chapter 9, verse 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood.
Yep. Because in the ancient times, that's how wars were fought for the most part. You watch like Game of Thrones, any old war movie, it was what? Swords, shields, bucklers. Yeah, and the sheen, the garments getting sliced, blood splattering. Show you that in the movie 300. But this one, go ahead.
But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire.
Burning and fuel of fire. So that's what this war, this great war is going to be about. It's going to be about fire consuming places and specifically and utterly Babylon the Great. So when everybody, and it's funny because like I said, me and a brother was talking yesterday, how these different wars that are starting, right, like with the Ukraine and Russia, that's been going on for years, right? Hamas and the 48 has been going on for years, right? Pakistan has been in India, that's been happening for 4 days, right? But the Lord said for Babylon the Great, it's going to come in one day. It ain't going, it's not going to be like it's going to be a missile that hit one place and then a couple days later, weeks later, a missile hit New York City. And the Lord said, oh, your widowhood and your loss of children It's going to happen in one day, man.
Yep.
To a place that has never seen actual missiles drop on it from an outside enemy. America's never experienced missiles dropping on this place. That's why this place is called it says in her mind that she should be a lady forever. Thou that dwells carelessly. See, when you never experienced war, then you can dwell in that mindset. When you go to the word carelessly, it says safe, secure, or safe. The mindset of Babylonians is that what they're safe here. Even you got the Ishmaelites right here, Ukrainians. You got a lot of Ukrainians that came over to America to try to run from Ukraine because of the war that was happening over there. So they come to Babylon thinking, okay, I'm safe here. You got a lot of Ishmaelites, or not saying Ishmaelites, Elamites, Indians that say, I'm glad that I'm here in America because of what's going on over there in India. But you don't even realize that this is going to be way worse than what's going on over there. Astronomically worse. And they're going to be calling upon their gods to try to save them, but you're not going to have an answer. Nobody's going to answer you because you're calling upon something that is not there. It says in Psalms that all the nations gods of
All the gods of the nations are idols.
all the gods of the nations are idols, but Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, made the heavens. And it's interesting too how the Lord is he's the Ancient of Days, right? Yahushua being the first spirit created, but it's as if he's this God that we're calling upon. It seems like it's the newest God that's been on the earth, because you had all the other gods that's been known, or their names been known for generations. But now at the end, the Lord put his name back on the earth. So it's like this is the latest name of a God that's been being spoken about. Right? But it's really the only God. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua set it up that way, as it is written in Baruch, that in the land of your captivity, you shall think upon yourselves and remember my name. So really, it's just a remembrance that it's been happening. It's not as if it's new. We're just, our pure minds have been stirred up to the God of old. That's why the scripture speaks about ask your fathers and they shall tell you, seek ye the old paths. The Lord had it to where in the latter days, we are going back to the beginning, to the one and only true living God. And he has made his name. That's why Yahweh Shai said, what? Glorify thy name. And the voice came and said, I have glorified and I will glorify it again. This is the time right now. The Lord is glorifying his name again. And he's about to manifest how important, how powerful believing and trusting in that name is.
That's why he often says, like, I would turn again to captivity, or I would turn back to captivity to turn us back to the Heavenly Father. And that's what's happening at this point in time.
Yep.
That even shows you that we're that much closer to Yahushua's return, because he has his actual men heralding his return, right? Because all you hear is the names exalted, Yahweh wa Yahushua, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, right? All our videos, everything we talk about is what the Lord is going to do. He said it, we're bringing it out, and we're telling you this is what's going to be happening. So in that case, all you got to do is just get ready for him to actually make his return. Nobody else is talking or calling their guys like they about to make some type of return, except for us, except for the true men of the Lord, because he's given us that secret. Amos 3:7. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he reveals his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. So all the secrets we're laying out. And the main point of that secret is the destruction and the deliverance of who? The elect. Destruction of this place, the deliverance of the elect, man. And it's going to be done by who? Yahushua. Okay? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. All right, that's why those names are being exalted, man. He's coming in his glory. All right, you got it, bro.
Yeah, and it's interesting how like this truth has spread so quickly, throughout the earth, right? It didn't take hundreds of years for this gospel to be spread. Islam, that took time to grow, right? That took time to get throughout the four corners of the earth. Christianity took time to get throughout the four corners of the earth. But the gospel of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua only took one generation. Because the Lord said that this generation shall not pass, so all be fulfilled. And it's also said that this gospel has to go throughout the four corners of the earth, and then the end comes. So it's not by coincidence that the truth came out during a time where we was considered, what they called it, the information age, right? In Daniel, it says that knowledge shall increase. The ultimate knowledge that increased was the knowledge of who we are and the knowledge of our God. So the Lord had this come out at the particular time, at a point in time, so that it could reach throughout the four corners of the earth through the internet. right? Was that Psalms, I think, 19, where he talks about
Line is going up.
the line is going out online. So that's why the majority of our ministry is not like how it was back in the times where we would have to go to the chief place of concourse, where we still do. But the majority of people are listening is what? Through the internet. And that is how this devil ultimately is going to, where the Lord is going to cause the devil to cause the word or the family of the word to be had, is going to, because he's going to make it to where we're not able to put up this word throughout the internet. So it's all set up. It's all lined up perfectly, man. But before that happened, the Lord was going to allow his word to go out, which is why he sent out all the prophets, rising up early, constantly bringing out videos. You think about how many Israelite videos that are on the internet comparison to Muslim videos or Ishmael. Remember, those religions been out for hundreds of years. You should have a plethora of Ishmaelite Islam videos and Christianity videos out, but they're not out there like that. Where you can find a lot of Israelite videos, because the Lord did that purposely, man. Because there ain't nobody except the Israelites, the prophets, doing videos daily and multiple times a day. There's nobody else doing that. That's a different energy that the Lord put on the men of the Lord purposely, because this word had to go out throughout the four corners of the earth, and the elect had to be woken up. And we can clearly see that we're at that time, because what is happening in the earth, the prophecy is being fulfilled. No, that's it.
Aaron, you got anything? All right. Let's finish it off with Revelation 22. Hold that fast with our hands. And take that crown. Yeah, because that ultimately, like the Zaquan said, man, and Aharon also mentioned, the Lord is setting everything up nicely. And once all the pieces are in place, he's gonna just flick that domino. He ain't gonna touch anything else. It's all just gonna play out nicely. So right now look. To be honest, this is the one and only time in all of existence that you get to play this role. If you're a prophet of the Lord and you out here, it may feel like it's a long time, but it's really, remember that the kingdom is going to be for all eternity. This is only going to be a single point in time in history that you get to do this. You never get to replay this moment ever again. So while you have the opportunity, while you have the chance, give it your all. Because for all eternity, you will be looking back at how well you did when the Lord put you out there to work for him. And you want to at least say, you know what? Even if I wasn't the greatest, I wasn't the best speaker, I was one who gave it my all every single time. And that's the most I could do. So you know what? I'll take that.
You don't want to leave no food on that plate,
Right.
Because hey, the Lord, I remember my parents growing up, you couldn't leave the table unless you finished your food. You finished the whole plate. So you leaving food on that plate is a shameful thing. And that's how the Lord's gonna look at it. Like, I gave you ample time. I put you in the vineyard, but I gave you the tools to work. Why haven't you worked? Why am I looking at your work and it's not completed?
Right. Yeah. You got it. You found it. Yeah. On 11?
Revelation chapter 22, verse 11. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still. And he which is filthy, let him be filthy still.
Yeah, and that's almost rhetorical in a way, because there's nothing we can really do about it. Go ahead.
Meaning, so say this, meaning what? That if you see somebody that's all that's wicked, you don't waste your time trying to clean them up. You give them the truth, but if you, and that's the Lord gave us the spirit of discernment to see, like, man, he ain't gonna get it.
Right, exactly.
He's not gonna, really. I always say, like, IUIC, ISUPK, we don't do videos. I don't do videos expecting them to see our videos and be like, oh, he got me.
Right.
I'm gonna turn, I'm gonna repent. And I hope that would be the case, but more so it's for the sheep. It's for the elect to not be taken in that snare to go that path. Because you just have it to where the Lord has certain people that are appointed unto disobedience, as Peter said. There's certain people that are just appointed unto disobedience. There's certain leaders that are blind that are going to lead the blind. Our job is to just do what? Just teach the word. And the Lord in spirit, he gathers the elect.
I just want to mention it's spiritual that you said, because it's the same thing I do with one of my lessons. like this ice decay with when the guy got pepper sprayed in his eye and all that. I didn't do that because I wanted them to stop. I really did that because just in case any Israelites may watch and say, "Oh, I gotta get pepper spray in my eyes," and all that. It's like, nah, buddy, that's like you got wised up. Like that's not what it's about.
Because hey, the sheep are simple, man. You know, even like you can be over righteous, and we've all when we first came into the truth, we felt a victim to that. You know, being over righteous because you think that oh, this is how it's supposed to be done.
Right.
You know, so you seeing some stupid shit like that now. Like think about that, man. Imagine if we came into the truth and like, we gotta get pepper spray.
Yeah.
Like shit. But also it takes the Lord also deals with his elect differently. You're not gonna be driven into that area to where it's like, yeah, I think I gotta go get pepper spray.
Right.
Like there's something that should be in your mind. You're a grown ass 340 buck, and you over here like, yeah, let me go get pepper spray. And you just sitting there. you start that thing, you start crying, bro. Come on, need more water. Like that, nothing in your mind thought like, yeah, nah, this ain't right. What this got to do with salvation? That's the all I shall see him.
Johanna's there watching. Like, Johanna, you go next.
and then you got the dude. I don't know what he was like a therapist. Breathe in, in through your nose, out through your mouth. It's about your mind. You know. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on right here? Like, nah, that's some weird. That's some culture.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that is. That's some culture. You got a whole therapist right here telling you how to operate mentally through this. But yeah, you can't even break down Revelation 13:11.
Right. Stuff with all that, it's still gonna get destroyed. Yeah.
The Lord gonna come, breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth.
Yeah, roll
In
in
the
the
flame. Yeah, you remember that? You remember the game pepper sprayed in that time. See if that should help you. Overcome that mentally, nigga. In through your nose.
crazy.
That's diabolical work.
Straight up. Got it, bro.
Continue in verse 11. And he that is righteous, let him be righteous still. And he that is holy, let him be holy still.
Yeah, and that's why we exhort one another, right? Like it says in Second Esdras, but rather inquire how the godly shall be saved. We exhort one another to continue on to righteous works, you know, to maintain the good work, right, until the return of the Lord, so that he can come and say, well done, you know, my good and faithful servant. Okay, so you have the balance, right? Those on the left and you have those on the right. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And behold, I come quickly. The Lord is with you, to give every man according as his work shall be.
That's a strange word. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, hey, but I said the Lord said that way. He come quickly, man. And when you really think about like how time is flying, and then you also just think about from when the truth came out, you know, and how much stuff has manifested, and just how life is just moving so fast, we can clearly see like there's not much time left. You know, there's not much time left to where, you know, we're going to be in Jacob's trouble. It's going to be the hour of temptation, and ultimately it's going to be the return of our Lord, man. So the mindset that you're supposed to be in, yeah, we don't know the day nor the hour. Yahweh Shai don't even know the day or the hour. But he's in that, but you think Yahweh Shai like, yeah, I'm just chilling. Oh, well, think I can just get up a little. I mean, let me go over there, just chill. Let me go holler at Michael real quick. Let me go. We're going to play some chess. Nah, but the Lord is, he said, just like in the time of Wisdom of Solomon, when the Heavenly Father gave the word, he said the Almighty word leaped off the throne. That was during that time. Imagine this time. How you going to come? That's why he said it was none was with me. He going to lead them in the dust, man. And Michael and the angel like, oh, you got to think about it, man, because the Lord, he can't wait. This is his. And ultimately, he coming to deliver us, man, his brethren, you know? So he said his reward is with him. That is the mindset. We don't get the reward on this side. We get the suffering. The scripture talks about that we are partakers of his suffering, then when we should be partakers of his glory when he returns. Right. That is what we have that faith in, man. And we're going to keep that same steadfastness up until the end. He that endure up until the end. Strive for the truth until death. That is the mindset, man. Isaiah 43 and 13. Yehovah Ba'ashem Yahushua shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself.
Now, who is his enemies? Because you just had the new American Pope came out and said God loves everyone. Well, then who's the enemies? Who did Ezra see come in to try to fight the Lord?
Right.
Who did John see that said that the Lord and the armies followed him and he went out to smite the nations? The nations. Who are the nations that's getting smite? We're the ones that's telling you. There's nobody else. And it's just true. I'm not boasting. There's nobody else that's telling you that the Son of God, the one that this is all about, he's coming back to kill a lot of people, man. That's just what it is. The slain of the Lord shall be many. And if you don't like it, then he's going to slay you. You're one of the ones that he's going to kill. There's nothing that, what else are we supposed to tell you?
Hey, if I may, Luke, the first chapter mentions that we should be delivered from our enemies. But who are they?
No, Satan. Michael, they got him about everything you say. But just like how the Lord got children, right? And the same guy, his children as well. It tells you that, right? The children of God, the children of men, and the children of wickedness.
Right. Yeah, let's move on there.
I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. Yeah, he's going to devour. You know, that speaks for itself. Destroy and devour at once. The Lord's been patient. You know, he's been waiting. He's on the right hand. He's got immortality, but the job ain't done yet. He finished what he had to do, but now now it's the next part, the next phase. He's gonna leap down, man. He's gonna come off that chariot and fuck people up, man. You know, he's gonna come with the heavenly hosts. Hawashai HaMashiach, man. He's gonna come with the chariots, the laser beams, all types of power, man. 2 Ezra 13 goes into it. But knowing that that's coming, what manner of person ought you to be in all holy conversation and godliness?
They said in righteousness to if you judge and make war. Y'all making war on the earth. Right. In wickedness. Somebody got to come. Y'all keep talking about ceasefire, stop this, do this. The Lord he gonna bring the fire and he gonna cease the fire forever. That's why he's when the angel came, believe that's what Luke the 2nd chapter to the wise men.
Yeah.
It said what? He said, peace on earth and goodwill to all men. When speaking about the birth of Yahushua, because it's going to be through Yahushua that peace is actually going to come upon the earth. It's going to be through Yahushua that the actual earth is going to learn no war no more. But he's going to do that by bringing the last war, because once he comes and destroys these other nations, you don't get to go to war. The fact that you cease firing means that they still have an opportunity to still fire again, which happens all the time, where you have a ceasefire agreement and then something happened. I think it just happened with India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
There was a ceasefire and some shit got blown up. But when the Lord actually ceased the fire, it's going to be a ceasefire forever, because and other nations are going to be able to rise up. He said he's going to destroy all of their wicked inventions. Ain't going to be no nukes left, like Apocalypse said. No more guns, no more weapons, no more missiles. No more superpower. That's that. It's going to be one superpower.
Got it on that?
Oh no! Oh, you got it. Yeah, it started a precept. It's going before the elder was going into previously. He said right to the point. Isaiah 63 and 4. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeem is come.
So Yahushua is basically looking for the return. He's not sitting idly by. He's waiting to come back. And that word redeem goes into kinsman's redeemer, right? Which goes into the law that only a kinsman can redeem or avenge, or he says that act to do the act of a kinsman or an avenger. Only a kinsman of an Israelite can, a close relative, can avenge their relative for a wrongdoing. And that is what Yahweh Shai is doing as the first of many brethren for his elect. That he's going to avenge us of the wrongdoings that are here, man, that are being done here to us. As brother mentioned in Luke the first chapter, to save us from our enemies. Yahweh Shai, it has the right. He's the one that has the right to avenge us, to redeem us from our enemies, man. So it's not about everybody, all nations. He said, "The day of vengeance, burns in my heart, and the year of my redeem." So there's a year, just read. There's a time, a year, a place, a day that Yahweh Shai is going to return and do this and fulfill this. And it said that burns in his heart. That's what something that he is thinking about. Since he went up till he comes back, that's what he's meditating on. That's why he said, "I ain't even going to drink until I drink again the fruit of this vine again with you new in the kingdom." But you got it.
Yeah, but that's all right, so we're gonna close it out here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Till next time, Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom Akim wa Akwat Yahweh Shemel Shabrakatam to the elect. Shalom.
Shalom.